In 2025, the world marks the pre-dawn of the age of Aquarius. In the upcoming year, citizens of the world will make a choice to grow or go. This week, God Universe is putting your first test. I have the Cliff Notes right here. Keep streaming for Namaste Today Live. Hello, my earthly neighbors, and welcome to Namaste Today Live. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, a cosmic comedian here to teach, coach, inspire you, and bring you into the most serious joy you've ever experienced in your life. We are streaming live right now on Facebook, YouTube, X.com, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. And if you're in our chat room, they are combined into a super chat. Say hello to your friends and family out there, your soul family, and tell us where you are chatting from and your astrology sign. Cosmos Cousins, we are so excited to have everyone here. We've got a lot of things going on this first week of Aquarius. Our top headlines are, the sun enters Aquarius in about 48 hours, and I'm expecting immediate turbulence to the vibration. The sun also conjoins Pluto on Tuesday, which will draw the first line on what side you're on. You could call this your first test from the universe. And the sun opposes Mars this week, creating a tug-of-war between the heart and ego. These aspects are to change your future, and we're going to have all the details coming up. Tonight, however, we have a special guest on Astro Mingle. Geoffrey Hoppe is our guest, sharing his experience channeling spiritual entities named Adamus Saint-Germain. We'll find out what that's about and how that got started. But as always, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is from Saturday, January 18th, to Friday, January 24th, 2025. Looking ahead at the weekend forecast, it may be a bit of a challenge because we are wrapping up the Capricorn season with a major test on Sunday. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's sunny and realistic. Step 28 means the Earth rules the day. This will be a productive day and a day where you will decide, and so it is. It's time to think through all of your operations. And with Venus conjoining Saturn, you mean spiritual business. On Sunday, it's sunny and renewed. Step 29 means Chiron rules the day. Expect to be tested on anything you learned in the Capricorn transit, even a renegotiation of a signed contract. It's time to decide that you become the love and release any life of fear. And with all the transits going on, it's no surprise that by the afternoon, the sun enters into wacky Aquarius. Looking ahead at the 5-day mood forecast for the upcoming week, this week is about the introduction to the Aquarius energy and the powerful conjunction of the sun conjuncting Pluto. On Monday, it's sunny and bright-eyed. Step 0 means that Pluto rules the day. This will be a day where you may feel a little vulnerable or feel like you're on another planet, but you are committing now to having an open heart every day. And with Mars trining Juno, you're also committing to the proper relationships. But with the moon in Libra, you may feel things go back and forth. On Tuesday, it's sunny and balancing. Step 1 rules the day, which means the sun is the ruling planet. You're realizing that you belong in a state of self-love and having to release fears of uncertainty. But with the cosmic, annual, incredibly powerful transit of the sun conjuncting Pluto, you will experience a death and a rebirth in the same day. On Wednesday, hump day, it is cloudy and probably overguarded. Step 2 means the moon rules the day, and the moon is in heavily guarded Scorpio. You're going to realize that where you belong is grounded and that you're feeling through the edges, but you're also learning where you are emotionally sensitive and where you need to innovate or ascend. On Thursday, it's sunny and sharp. Step 3 means that Jupiter rules the day. This will be a day of learning and expansion and travel and perhaps new opportunities. What you're realizing on this day is that you belong to being convinced that you can believe in yourself. You're opening up to a new fortune. And with Mars sextiling Uranus and Mercury opposing Mars and Mercury trining Uranus, all at step 23, you are destined to have a big picture realization, probably as the moon moves into Sagittarius. And then on Friday, Step 4 rules today. It's the first Grandmaster Day of the Aquarius season. You're going to realize that you belong with you, that you know the strategy, the vibe, and the value. And with Venus sextiling Pallas, it means it's time to take that new knowledge and make it sacred. Never get tired of that animation. Thank you, Adam Turner. This week's Zodiac weather, of course, we like to remind you to please be kind and do subscribe to our flag network YouTube channel, Serious Joy TV. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, please hit the bell button or the like button so you're notified and you don't miss any episode. And we're happy to say that, as you can see, Namaste Today Live is once again sponsored by the Countdown 2024 webinar that I actually produced last Saturday. This turned out to be a phenomenal webinar because I went deep into the topics, but I didn't make it too long. I kept it short and sweet around what you had to focus on. We focused on all the major events of 2025, all the little hurdles you might have to go over, and gave you some clear definitions of what to focus on. You can purchase this webinar still and see it immediate. It's available for immediate viewing. Go to senseiChristopher.com, and don't forget, Serious Joy subscribers enjoy a $25 discount. Log into seriousjoy.com to find what that discount code is. All right, friends, without further ado, let's take a look at the week's moods. Excuse me, that was the wrong line. Let's take a look at the week's planets and transits. Holy moly, what a week it has been, my friends. I have a hoarse voice again. I've been talking all day, and that's just due to the nature of the energy of the apex of Capricorn. We are high up on the mountain and the altitude of control. We're going to wrap up Capricorn this weekend, and I have to say this Capricorn transit has been rather intense. I don't know about you. I'd love to see it in the chat, and you guys tell me as well. Major decisions made this year in Capricorn. So what I experienced, changes of direction, also changes of power, new leadership. We've gone through incredible staff overturn at Serious Joy and hired a whole new team on very many levels. So typical business, but business for the age of light. I think this Capricorn season has proven to be the best Capricorn season that I have experienced since Pluto, since before Pluto went into the sign around 15 years ago. And I also feel that it was refreshing to be able to make decisions without the cloudiness of uncertainty, which is what Pluto had provided. I think this particular week was rather intense. It started, of course, with a full moon, and that full moon was possibly an emotional shift in how you felt your relationship to the future ought to be. You might have made a major shift in direction. You might have canceled something you were doing and brought up something new. And it's okay if you had a last minute change. The universe has got your back, because now is the time to make the right decisions based on, quite simply, all the learning you have done over the years with Pluto and Capricorn. It's also the time to make final decisions in regard to your maturing. Remember, 2024 was all about spiritual clearing. We faced our karma we had with daily life. We faced our karma we have with ourselves. Facing that karma eliminated doubt. It allowed us to heal. It allowed us to come into a new version of ourselves. It allowed us to become, frankly, whole. And now that we have become a more whole being, we can make holistic decisions for ourselves and our future. I, for one, am very proud and excited about what's happening. And I'll share with you that my enthusiasm for life has done nothing but go up over the last 10 days. Now, so is my schedule. My availability has gone down. It's been really intense. And I've been delegating as much as I can to stay in that work-life balance. I don't know about you, but I hope you have as well. So as we move into this week and this weekend, Over the weekend, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting the final touches on your direction in life. And that means that it's energetically time to hold space for what you really believe in. And you will be tested probably on Sunday about making the right choice. So right off the bat, just know we're not quite out of the Capricorn season yet. And it is actually going to be, I think, a hell of a test that we have over the weekend because you're probably making some changes that are profound. I myself, I know I have. I've changed my priorities I have for business. I've changed the way I'm going to go about things. I've changed the way I'm going to operate. I made major policy changes. And, in this case, it's delegate, delegate. But in your case, it might be something else. You don't want to do any retreats on these decisions. You spent almost a month making them. You spent the entire last year preparing for them. And so the last thing you want to do is go back or retreat at this particular time. So I encourage you to use the method of the Cancer energy on the opposite side, which means that you're going to be feeling into whether or not this is a right decision. Remember, we are now in new conscious territory, which means our mind does not have the answer. Our history books do not have the answer. Your mentors probably don't have the answer. The answer is in your heart, and your emotional field is your guidance. Sort of like Star Wars, when you put on the blindfold, it's time now to use the force of love to guide yourself through the maze. You're going to be just fine, but it's going to be an intense year. One of the things I learned or taught at the 2025 countdown was that this year is a net 9 year. Net 9 year means 2 plus 2 plus 5. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals a 9. This is the year where we move forward in a fast-paced way to execute and all of the decisions that you're making right now in Capricorn. This is why you cannot be indecisive right now. You have to be clear. You're better off going down the wrong path, making a U-turn and coming back than you are being unclear at this moment. Because in this net 9 year, you're going to find the pace of life speeding up. You're going to find time speeding up. And that's one of the things I found, actually. I had a lot of time distortions in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn rules time and the keeping of time. But there were times where I spent what seemed like hours in a conversation and it had been 20 minutes. There was times when I thought I spent 20 minutes and it had been hours. I'd like to know in the chat if you'd experienced those things as well. These time distortions I'm expecting to be a constant in 2025 due to a variety of reasons, mostly that we've been held back from progress for so long, we have a lot of catching up to do. But not just that, 2025 is going to be profound, we'll say that, because this year we have several outer planets that are shifting into a new sign all in the same year. Saturn moving into Aries, Neptune moving into Aries. We have Uranus moving into Gemini, and we have Jupiter moving into Cancer. That's a lot of change, a lot in 1 year. Not to mention the 9 energy means that our ego is the primary state of awareness. This will be the test of our egos. And as I go into the countdown, I believe this year will be the birth of what I call the we-go. The we-go, which is a new ego, a refined ego, for those who have done the spiritual work, that cannot help but consider the other. And in many of our viewers' case, the other that you're considering is you, where you finally learn how to include yourself in the equation, put yourself first, and realize that self-love is the power that makes the world go round. So with that introduction to 2025, let's talk about what we're going to see going forward this week. This week is the dawn of the dawn, the pre-dawn of the age of Aquarius. Lots of people ask me, when will the age of Aquarius actually unfold? There's a lot of debate about when that happens. My personal estimate will be in about 80 years or so. That means that you are the pilgrims that land on the Aquarius rock. You are the people who will decide it's time for a new world. You will set up the base camp. You will get us in that direction. And then hopefully there will be a nice place for the enlightened people who are already ready to incarnate. And there'll be the leaders who will take us to the next level. It is our generation, I believe, that makes the choice of destruction or construction of the new era. And I personally have come to have all sorts of opinions about this. I'll be asking tonight's guest for his opinion on this, but I believe that we're all going together. There was a time when I thought we had a dual timeline, but recently my guides and the people I've been interviewing say, no, we're all going on the same timeline. And that means some people are going to have a really miserable time who want it to be the other way, and some people are going to have the time of their life who want it to be the light. Now, this Aquarius season is probably going to be a shift storm. A shift storm because Pluto is now in the Aquarius vibration where it will stay. For those who don't know, Pluto represents the number 0. The number 0 has many functions. It ultimately is our protection energy. And so when Pluto moves into a sign, it forces us to let go of some things and bring the walls down on some things. And other things, it encourages us to bring the walls up. Now, interestingly enough, when the sun crosses Pluto every year, it's an annual event, it sets the tone for the entire year. It pretty much creates the rule of the absolute. Pluto is an absolute for the most part. So the old mantra of Pluto is change or die. What that means is Pluto is the energy of the final layer of our solar system. It's basically the guard of our solar system. If a spaceship wanted to come into our system, they've got to get past Pluto, right? It is the moat around our solar system, and it's also the moat around consciousness. This conscious moat, if you will, this conscious wall, is a power that we have only on Earth. When we come from the light, there is no separation from us and others. This separation idea is strictly an Earth thing, just like Mars, our ego, is strictly an Earth feature. Therefore, Earthlings are rather stupid at Pluto. We don't have a lot of experience with drawing boundaries. This is why we allow people to trespass, lie, how we fall gullible to scams and things like that. Pluto in Aquarius says it's now time for us to make distinctions in frequency. Aquarius is the energy of frequency. It is energy, basically, and it is the energy, the physical energy, the physical energy you can record one day with special instruments, really of the understudy or the core of all matter. If you've studied a science or physics, you know that everything is vibrating. And from what we understand from our spiritual guides, everything is vibrating at different frequencies. So Pluto moving into this sign basically says some frequencies have to die, some frequencies have to change. Some frequencies have to be protected, some frequencies have to be let go of. And as Pluto goes through the Aquarius vibration, it's sort of like a boat going through the ocean, creating a great wake behind it where we are split into at least 2 categories. Now, I believe that 2-category split begins this week because the sun will conjoin Pluto at step 1 Aquarius, the I love myself state, the state of loving yourself. And at that point, we'll have our first split in society, those who love themselves and those who do not love themselves. Now, if you had to put a gun to someone's head, they say, yes, I love myself. But when we talk about this in energy, we talk about the attention we pay to energy. You must pay attention to a particular part of you for it to have more energy. What you ignore starts to shrivel up and die. So what Pluto is saying is that we must put protection around the self-love vibration. The vibration that loves yourself must now be guarded. It must now be a primary state of your attention. It is a necessary state of your attention to go forward in the new era. And so, again, if you fail to do this, are you left behind? Not necessarily. You can always catch up. However, it's harder to catch up if Pluto now conjoins next year and another step, such as step 3. And that's the case, then you're not having the aid of Pluto to sort of live up to those boundaries. Pluto gives us the strength, the backbone to actually do it. It's the ruler of Scorpio. And if you know Scorpios, when they say no, they mean it. Pluto's the same way. It's an absolute no. There's no room for negotiation. And so what Pluto is doing for you is giving you profound energy, profound support to be able to put your self-love as an important, the most important aspect of your conscious vibration, to keep that vibration from being trespassed upon by yourself. Usually the mind is what trespasses, or emotions trespass, but also trespassed against the people we love. That's going to be part of the situation. That's what's most difficult about step 1. I know I have Pluto at step 1 in my chart. Step 1 Libra, I'm part of the Generation X, but I got to tell you, I am most confused when I love someone on where to draw the line because the love is flowing and my instinct is to never cut it off. So this will be part of the complications going on this week, is that you're being called to love yourself, but let's say you also love someone else, or you love this or you love that. Where do you draw the line? How do you draw the line? We'll talk about that as we go through the planets. But ultimately, this is the turning point this week, because once the sun conjoins Pluto, you are now given the energy to take one side of that wake. The side of the wake where you self-love yourself unconditionally, or the side of the wake where it's on and off, or perhaps not there to begin with, or perhaps you're not aware of your heart. Now, there's other things going on, but that is probably the most important part of the week. Moving from that part, we start to go into the energy of Aquarius. These first degrees of Aquarius are how you vibe with yourself. This is very important because, as you know from watching me, what you be is what comes. Aquarius literally is the metaphysics behind the law of attraction. Whatever vibration you are, you attract. Like-minded hearts, two hearts that beat as one, are meant to be together. The symbol of Aquarius is that we will now be able to vibrate together. So what you're working on this week, and what the goal this week is to get all of you on your side, to get the vibe of you on your side. So we will begin with, where the boundaries are, step 0. We'll move on to love. Is your heart on board? Are your feelings on board? Are your beliefs in yourself in the same vibration as your feelings in your heart? Is your belonging? And we end this week with the Grandmaster step of step 4 Aquarius, where you will come to a conclusion that you, yes, belong on the side of your heart, or you do not belong on the side of your heart. And that's based on the primary states of awareness of love, emotion, belief, and then step 4 is belonging. Now, part of the symptoms of this will be, you're going to find this year in Aquarius immediate consequence of changing your vibration. I have played with this magic before. I've spent time changing my vibration and then walking into public and observing the people who pay attention to me. I have seen from my own self that if I'm vibrating around anger, I am law of attracting people who look angry, or who are being a jerk to me, or who are, cutting people off. And I've also changed that vibration to love and self-love and enjoyment. And I've had people, literally like homeless people, opening the door for me at 7-Eleven saying hi. So you can play with this vibration. I encourage you that you do, because this is our first step as a people, as a species, into the energy of frequency. And because Pluto is a 0, Pluto adds a 0 to any equation, all right? So that means that while Pluto's in Aquarius, if you have 10, Pluto offers 100. If you have 1,000, Pluto offers 10,000. Basically, Pluto adds a 0. It's a magical number if it's applied correctly. In the same sense, it could also mean nothing. And the last thing you need to know is that people and gaslighting and projecting onto others is going to go up probably by 100-fold. That's because when you have the energy of 0 included in a state of awareness, you basically create a mirror situation where people see their ugly sides when they look at you. And of course, if they're not aware of how this all works, they tend to gaslight. They tend to project it on you. And so you're really going to have to therefore be stronger about protecting your heart. If you are being gaslit, if you are being attacked or wrongly accused, you should know that your vibration is too closed off. And so because they're seeing nothing, 0, from the Pluto, they're seeing the mirror effect with themselves. So if people gaslight, if people are hard, you're not sharing enough of your heart with the world. You're not sharing enough of yourself in that environment. Now, we'll get deeper into this. And on my own social personal network, SeriousJoy.com, this is just one of the many things that we teach on a daily basis with our faculty. I'll point out some other things too. You can't always get deep on this show, but you can deep in our private practice. So one of the key things you should know just for the course of this particular Sun in Aquarius is that you are going to be making your first, attempt to separate your life based on the law of attraction. And that separation of your life is based on one ingredient and one ingredient only: how powerful your self-love is. In fact, for the entire year of 2025, self-love determines everything. And because it's a net 9 year, it's going to be a year of chaos, fast-moving energies, fast paces, and more than anything, it's going to be a year of people's ego being ready to rock. Once Neptune moves into Aries, people will think that they are the one, that they are the chosen one. And that will be chosen for a variety of things, but it'll be universal. When Saturn moves into Aries, they'll feel, hey, this is my responsibility to do something about it. So we're going to have a new ego, and people who stick with the old ego are going to double down and feel more empowered. And people who have the new ego are going to feel inspired and be more empowered. Well, when both sides are more empowered, it raises the potential for conflict. The last time Neptune went into Aries was the start of the American Civil War. So as you can tell, there is a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of negative vibes, but I'll just go ahead and put on the table, I would just go ahead and put on the table that I do not believe that we're going to have another civil war. I do not believe the United States is going to separate, for instance, because karma is a spiral. When you come to the same place, you have a higher point of view, the population sees more, and it turns out to be something completely different, and usually what we never imagined, because typically we are projecting our past trauma onto the future. So with that said, let's take a deeper look, shall we, on the planets and what they're providing. And as always, let's start with the sun and its placement in Aquarius. Let me just get my notes here too. I can prepare. Here we go. One thing here. Oops, wrong program. So 1 second. Okay. So this week in Aquarius, we have basically the sun starting in Capricorn, and then it ends at step 4 Aquarius. Step 5 by the end of Saturday, however you split the hairs. And so first of all, today, and tomorrow and Sunday, we're holding space now for that Capricorn energy. What that means is you've already had so much time to make your decisions. Now you need to toe the line. What if I make a last minute change of plans? I wouldn't recommend it. Only if your feelings are telling you something is wrong. Only if you're getting signs from the universe. Only if your guides are telling you. Otherwise, stay on course, all right? There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, and don't let that uncertainty stop you from moving forward, all right? One thing about a net 9 year is everyone has a lot more courage than they normally have. So use that courage to step forward and just make sure that if it's heart-based, if it's the best thing to love yourself to go that direction, you're on the right path, period. If the path you're on does not love yourself, you should be concerned. You should be concerned that you're walking down a dark alley. But then the sun will move into Aquarius, and once the sun moves into Aquarius, I'm expecting an immediate turbulent change of vibration. Normally, we don't have this much turbulence in Aquarius, but by turbulence, I mean electricity things happening, blackouts in certain areas, computers going down, kind of like a Mercury retrograde, but this is electric. Some of my very high vibe Aquariuses, when I do a reading for them on Zoom or whatever we use, as soon as they say hi, boom, the Zoom connection is broken, okay? That's because their vibration is too intense, and especially connecting to me, who's reading it and taking it in. And so you're going to see a lot of electrical interference. I also think you'll see a lot of thunderstorms and lightning and fires started by lightning and things like that, especially as we move first into Aquarius. So sort of brace yourself, have a flashlight with batteries, that sort of thing, because I think in those first few days of Aquarius, it's going to be quite turbulent in that sense. Of course, we have Pluto also in Aquarius. It's at step 1 Aquarius, and I've already mentioned that its job is to help us build new boundaries around loving ourselves. If you are a person that has walled yourself off due to damage or trauma, if you shut off from your heart, from your childhood, well, then you are a person that may have put walls up and you don't have access to your heart. Pluto will also help you bring those walls down. And the thing about Pluto is if you refuse to bring those walls down, Pluto will force you. Pluto is the only planet that overrides personal willpower or the ability to choose your own path. And that's because Pluto represents the last stand of the universe. Pluto represents our final line. So basically, the human race is forced to move certain directions of ascension, and Pluto represents the bottom of the bottom, the rock bottom. And so because it's rock bottom, it gives you two choices. You either change or you die. Okay. Now, it doesn't kill you right away, but it will slap you pretty hard. Okay. I've never been slapped more than a Pluto transit. In fact, I won't even go into the worst one yet, but it was tough. Saturn conjunct my Pluto, and I just had a hell of a time. So the Aquarius energy this week is going to be turbulent. It's full of surprises, and there may be surprises with yourself. This will be the kind of week where you realize, I hate my job. Why haven't I been honest about it? My heart has no intention of doing this. Why am I majoring in this? Because to please my parents. So, Aquarius is the rebel energy. And so that rebellious energy starts to build this week, because if your heart is not in alignment with your life, or your life is not in alignment with your heart, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel static. And in the worst case scenario, there'll be some of Pluto will check you against the wall like you were a hockey player. Now, other energy this week, of course, is the Pisces energy. It's important to know the Pisces because Pisces energy ultimately is our spiritual connection, our spiritual story. And Pisces energy represents what God universe is doing underneath the seams. And what God is doing is making major investments in our spiritual growth. The North Node is currently at step 29 Pisces and will move to step 28 Pisces this week. What that means is the overall flow of the entire Earth is looking to push the envelope of a spiritual story. Pushing the envelope of a spiritual story means it may have been your story your whole life that a person like you could never get a job like that, or a girl like you could never find a man like that, or that someone of your background could ever have the opportunity to do something else. The North Node in Pisces at 29 degrees says, wrong. It's time to change those rules. It's time to raise the ceiling of spirituality. So interestingly enough, not only is Pluto saying raise the rock bottom to a new vibration, the North Node in Pisces is saying and raise the ceiling. So between the two, we are being literally scaled up to a higher frequency. Now, Saturn, Neptune, and Venus are also in the Pisces consciousness. So you could say the entire Pisces consciousness is under construction. Why is that? Well, quite frankly, we have been introduced to an alternative storyline, an alternative spiritual legacy. And the universe has basically said to us, it's time to switch lanes. The lane you have been in your whole life was about facing the trauma of the dark ages, facing your wounds as a human, awakening your karma, forgiving yourself, letting it go, and learning from the whole process of how to do that. Now that Neptune is way up to step 27, Neptune is saying, okay, it's time to open up that spiritual mission that we wanted to do, the second spiritual mission that we had on Earth. We have many spiritual lessons, but overall the Earth had two lessons this lifetime: heal and ascend. And so we are officially, basically by the choice of your self-love, choosing one of those two missions. Saturn this week goes at step 16 all week long. When Saturn's at step 16, it means that we are deciding our spiritual path. 16 adds to a 7, which is the number of Pisces. And so as a result, this is the week where we decide what our daily spiritual path will be. Now, you're not going to decide what your long-term spiritual legacy is, just your daily. So today you want to be really decisive over the course of this week to decide, is this in my path or is this not my path? Is this part of where I'm supposed to go or is this not part I want to go? So make a lot of decisions this week, most likely, about whether a job or a living situation or a love situation or a mundane situation is in fact part of that new story of ascension, or that particular issue is part of the old story of learning and healing from your karma. Also, we have Venus this week moving from step 15 to step 21. The significance of that is what we open up to. Venus is the magnifying glass that goes deeper and brings us closer. It is also the yin energy of our soul that pulls instead of pushes. And so what we're doing is we're pulling in, just like we are pulling in off of a rope off of a ship. We are pulling in the new spiritual story of where we are going. We are pulling in all the way up to step 20. And by the end of the week, Venus goes to step 21, which means we will pull in and we will open up to the spiritual legacy that will result. So what I am predicting is this week will be somewhat cloudy as to where you're headed. Excuse me. But by Thursday, Friday, when Venus starts to enter 20 and 21 degrees, you'll get a glimpse around that blind corner of where the spiritual story will end up. Now, on the South Node at 29 degrees Virgo, moving to 28 degrees Virgo, this is the part where we are letting go. And the hard part of this year is going to be the South Node of Virgo. I talk about this in the Countdown 2025. Because Virgo is reality, Virgo is what we have built, Virgo is the embodiment of spiritual consciousness. And what the South Node is telling us is that we are going to completely break down and regenerate this. You could say we're going to recycle our old lives into a new life. This recycling will take about 18 months. The last time you recycled a life was 2005 to 2006, which means you probably changed major aspects of who you were, what your life was like back during those times. In the energy of this, it means that you can't hold on to things. If something falls apart, it's meant to. If something collapses, it might be a surprise. You might have thought, oh my gosh, I thought that was part of the new era of me. I thought that was healed. I thought that was doing just fine. But what you don't realize is, in the bigger picture of the universe, whatever is collapsing, whatever is getting sick, whoever is crossing over and dying, because, letting go of the body is death in this physical world. Although painful, although horrible to experience, it was necessary. I think there are a lot of souls who simply aren't up to the task of ascension. It's heavy, it's difficult, you have to be aware, it's constant focus, and some souls are saying, screw this, I'm just going to go ahead and reincarnate into the other side. I'll come back when everybody in the world is already enlightened and on the path, and I'll just learn that way instead of learning this hard way. So be willing to let go of things, and also be willing to realize that reality can be much more than what you see. The reality that you have was the reality you made when you didn't understand things. And so, although it may seem impossible, although people tell you it's impossible, it's not. If you believe in creation, then you have to have some faith, North Node Pisces, that the world will change, and you also have to have some patience. Ask a Virgo what that's like, they will tell you. Then we should talk about the emotions of the week too, because emotions are where all the ocean comes from. And the thing about our emotions of the week is that Aquarius typically is like electricity, and emotion is sort of like water. They don't go along really well. Some people think the waves are water. They're not. The waves of the Aquarius glyph is a stream of consciousness. So when feelings are particularly more difficult during the Aquarius season, because they do not necessarily go along, and sometimes they spark breakdown or breakthrough. So given the course of this week, currently as I speak, the moon is in solid Virgo, and so we are feeling reality right now. We are feeling reality starting to change, and you're probably feeling here in this last leg of Capricorn what you want your life to become. So you're sort of emotionally feeling through what it should become. Then the moon will go into Libra halfway through Saturday, which is a step 28 day. And so once we are bringing our lives together, step 28 is when you hold things for it to come together, to come in solid form. Then the moon certainly gets teeter-tottery. And so you'll find in those last two steps of Capricorn, it's sort of like being on a roller coaster. You're going to go back and forth. Emotions will be tipsy-turvy, and you'll have to be very focused on taking the center lane, taking the vision of the third eye and not either side, and really finding the balance and harmony. So there is definitely a chance of being seasick or storms, particularly Saturday night. Saturday night might be a heck of a ride. Then by Sunday, you'll start to feel more balanced. Then by Monday, you'll start to feel the new relationship to the future. And then, of course, Monday is when the sun goes to 0 degrees Aquarius. So really, you'll see this transition over the weekend. I'd be gentle on yourself this weekend. I wouldn't stack anything extra on your plate. Monday with Libra, we start to feel kind of calm and collected. But then as the moon crosses over Pluto, the moon moves into Scorpio. What is Scorpio? Pluto. So the moon and Pluto are working together. Pluto, the moon becomes a secret agent of Pluto. And so this idea of choosing those two sides of the wake, one side or the other, one where self-love rules the day and you're going to ascend, one where there's no self-love and you feel yourself continuing to descend. The moon in Scorpio sort of draws emotional boundaries and prepares us for it. So we start to really close off emotionally from the path we don't belong in, and we start to cling to emotionally the path we do belong to. That means that you might feel like you have to be strong. You might have some time alone, separate from the people who challenge those things. Definitely if you have a person that is a negative or criticizes your work or criticizes who you are, stay the heck away from them. And this feeling as we go through on Tuesday, the crossing of the sun and Pluto, the moon is deep into Scorpio, and so our boundaries are sort of set. Then come Wednesday, we're sort of start with those boundaries, but by Wednesday afternoon, you're starting to feel the new story. The moon will be in Sagittarius. You'll feel that your story with yourself is changing. You'll process that you're not necessarily the same person that you used to be. You're not going to be able to put conclusions on this because we're just 2 days in, but basically Wednesday and Thursday, and moving into Friday, the moon in Sagittarius means that you are emotionally accepting this new story, this new legacy, and this new direction. The moon will cross the galactic center on Friday. That's also the same day the sun is at the Grandmaster step of Aquarius. So by Friday, basically you have chosen a side, your future has been changed, and at the same time, your story and your narrative has changed. If you originally had a bad or unhappy ending, you may now have a happy ending in your destiny, or vice versa. So emotionally is completely in alignment with the spiritual lessons that we're doing. Now, when it comes to manifestation, one of the things we have this week is Taurus and Uranus. Uranus is at step 23, and step 23 is the visioning step. Taurus is the manifestation, and retrograde means we are reconsidering, we are rewriting, we are reformatting, we are redrawing the blueprints as to what our construction plans are for the year. One of the aspects of this week is the fact that we have a few transits. In fact, we have one day of aspects where literally on one day we have Mars sextile Uranus. This is Thursday. This is when we're in step 3 Aquarius. Mars sextiles Uranus at step 23. Mercury opposes Mars at step 23. And Mercury trines Uranus at step 23. In essence, on Thursday, you are basically going to be settling what to build or not to build, what to invest in or not to invest in, and that will be clear by the time you get to Friday, where we hit the Grandmaster step of step 4. So the mantra of Aquarius and Uranus is, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I will do it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll open this. Maybe I won't. Keep all the options on the table and just allow yourself to realize that the right option will be one based on self-love, and then Uranus at 23 that you feel and believe in. Now, because these are all net 5s, your mind is going to be perhaps a bit of a troublemaker. And of course, Mercury itself this week is actually moving back in Capricorn. In fact, I don't know if we made a graphic for this because I don't know if I drew the lines, but I did. Mercury in Capricorn this week, goes back to, thank you, Adam, starts at step 4 Capricorn and moves to step 25 Capricorn. So although the sun is going, hey, where do I belong? Which path am I going to take? The mind is still going, well, should I take control or shouldn't I? Should I sign the lease or shouldn't I? The mind is still sort of racing to see what side it is on. So your mind is behind because of the Mercury retrograde. Your mind is still on Capricorn. It's still on control. You're still debating about, over the contract. You're still, in negotiations for something. And so recognize that the mind, first of all, is behind. Secondly, the mind is ignorant. It's never done this before. There's no history books about this. And so the mind has got to be turning into an observer and a researcher and making the calls step by step, piece by piece. All right. Now, going into our next state of awareness, and when that is Libra. Libra, of course, is our ability to balance. I talked about how the moon will be in Libra. Notice how Black Moon Lilith moves to step 23 Libra this week, another change of vision. And it begins this week at step 22. That means that we will face fears and trauma of having probably made the wrong decision or married ourselves to the wrong plan or had the wrong approach to reality. This would be, all sorts of past life memories where we thought we had the right relationship with the future and we were dead wrong. What this comes down to is the mind in particular, once Black Moon Lilith goes to step 23, might be a bit obsessive about making the wrong choice or not knowing enough or not having enough information or not having enough experience. I mean, depending on your Black Moon issues in your natal chart will determine just what sort of mind games unfold. But be prepared for mind games with that Black Moon Lilith, and also be prepared that there will be fear you have to clear. Just because there's fear doesn't mean you're not supposed to go that direction. In fact, you really shouldn't choose if you should go that direction until you've neutralized the fear. What neutralizes the fear? Love. To approach it with love instead of fear. How can you approach it with love? Self-love. If you love yourself, you'll fill your gas tanks with self-love. And if you have that self-love full, then when you look at a fear like Black Moon Lilith, your heart knows what is true, and you can sort of fight that shadow or shadow box. The last point of interest I want to bring up is the Aries consciousness. Aries has Chiron at 19 degrees. 19 is the I manifest state of awareness. And so that I manifest state of awareness means is that you are now manifesting a new character. Chiron is healing your potential to change your character. Now, what this means is there's a character change in the works. And when we get into Aries, trust me, this is when you're going to go through a complete character change or metamorphosis, because this will be when the we-go is born. I'll talk about the we-go and all its values in a future episode. So with that said, I think it's time to talk about you, my friend. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, friends. Welcome to your tea time. If you're not familiar, this is the part of the show where I basically give you a little mini horoscope about how all of what I'm saying applies to you. And I try to narrow it down to just a few things rather than making it overcomplicated. In today's case, I'm going to be focusing on some specifics that I hope will help you. First of all, I want to talk about what the sun in Capricorn will mean for you and the wrap up of it. So giving you some boosters, giving you a little extra credit on what you need to take into consideration, knowing your sign's history as you hold space and hold together this the sun in Capricorn energy. So wrapping up Capricorn. Then I will talk about the sun in Aquarius, what this means for you. I'll give you a little bit of the scope of what you can expect in this Aquarius transit. And of course, I'll talk about the importance of the sun conjuncting Pluto on this Aquarius moment. And then I will be talking about Chiron. Why Chiron? Because it's a net 9 year. And so I'll be telling you about where it is that you must approach yourself with a healing, acceptance, self-loving, non-judgmental approach. Because without that approach, you will understand, you will not be able to heal the ego. And why heal the ego? Because if the ego doesn't heal, the ego resists. If the ego resists, you're going to refuse the program. If you refuse the program, you're going to end up on the wrong side of the lake or the wake. So I'll be talking about for each of the 12 signs, what that Chiron means. And then lastly, which should have been the last choice, but I just messed it up, I'll talk about the Earth in Leo. As we determine Aquarius energy of where we belong, belonging is completely determined by love. So what you love is where you belong. You love chocolate, you're a chocolate lover. You belong in a chocolate factory like Willy Wonka, and that's where you believe. Anything you love is where you belong. That is how the law of attraction works. What the heart beats is what draws in. Two hearts that beat as one. So I'll be reminding you of where your heart emanates from as your sign, and I'll be encouraging you to amp up the self-love on that side of the equation so you can choose the right path when it comes to the sun conjoining Pluto. And as always, we'll go through the signs of the Zodiac, and I'll put over here, backwards mirror, what sign we're working on. Alrighty? Okay, and I'll be taking lots of drinks because my voice is feeling Pluto already. All right, excuse me. Starting with the Aries. Aries, you are putting the finishing touches on where your career and legacy and leadership is headed. Now, I want to underscore, it's too soon for you to know what that looks like. And Aries is like to jump to the end. They always like to know how it ends. And if someone opens up to see how the book ends, it's an Aries. They read the book at the end and then they move backwards because they want the goal. They want to be there. But guess what? That was the old Aries. And remember, Aries, you always have been the ego that has then moved into the me-go and now will become the we-go. So your choices have to be heart-based. You have to stay committed to the goals you know about. You have to stay committed to the plan. But you probably heard me say this before. Make your plans, but go ahead and plan to change your plans. You will not move forward without a plan. Even if it's not perfect, it must be filed with the universe. So as you move forward over the weekend, you are manifesting the plan. You are aiming for a legacy. You're aiming for a destiny. But honestly, until you get to the top of that mountain of Capricorn, you will not know how it turns out. So I'm sorry, unfortunately, in the new era, we live in the present. We don't live in the future. And you're a sign that tends to aim for the future. So be happy with where you are and project what you want to be tomorrow. Now that said, the sun in Aquarius for you has to do with your belonging consciousness. And basically, Aries have thrown themselves under the bus. Traditionally, your weakness in Aquarius is you made choices about where you belong, not from your heart, not from love, but basically from power. Aries have been sort of power freaks in the age of Aries, in the age of Pisces. And now that we're going towards world peace, you don't have a job. You don't know what to do. And so you have this habit of being a jerk to yourself and making yourself do things like hard labor, the one that sacrifices your life, the one that runs in the burning building. That was all you. You've not been a friend to yourself. So one of the lessons for you is to not be angry at society. You chose where you didn't belong. You forced yourself in, and then you blamed everyone else. All right? So you've got to be your own friend. You've got to be on the side of your heart. You've got to represent yourself when you step out in society. And so this week, you're going to choose one path or another. the path where your heart is deciding where you belong, or the path where your ego is deciding where you belong, which is typically what you rule your life by. Now, as you do that, the Earth in Leo is going to heal, first of all, your inner child issues. If you have issues with loving yourself, now you're doing something and proving to your inner child that now you do love yourself. So there's tremendous repair that can go to your childhood wounds, tremendous repair that can go to your capacity to love yourself, the capacity to break down and end certain things about being in the wrong place, all from self-love. And by the way, that self-love consciousness goes all the way up to what we call serious joy. Chiron, my friend, is what's helping you heal your ego. Your ego is bruised. It's bruised from doing things that you didn't belong doing. It's bruised from going too far. It's bruised from being stopped in your tracks by other signs. And so you need to heal now your fears that things will turn out wrong. You need to heal the parts of yourself, the fears that people will never like you. You need to heal these issues of your ego wanting to give up. And you know what's funny? Aries, although strong, is usually the first one to give up. It's very unlikely that Aries will finish the job. They get to about 70% and they die. And not die literally, but just die. Their energy dies, their motivation dies. And the reason why you did not finish the job was because you didn't base it on what you loved. You based it on power. Moving on. Taurus. Taurus, you are wrapping up this Sun in Capricorn transit by staying the course in your life's purpose and what brings you absolute meaning. This is a little bit of a sideway because Tauruses have typically done things according to wealth, abundance, showing off, comfort, security, not what life's purpose is. So your final line here is to hold the tone for what brings you meaning and what brings you purpose in life. And this is something you don't even have to be paid for when you do it. I myself was not paid for, basically. I did the first horoscopes. I didn't make any money from doing like the first 5 years of horoscopes on YouTube. I did, it's 12 a day, 5 days a week. I just knew it was my purpose. It gave me meaning. I didn't even be paid for it, okay? Now, I have other things that I did that was out of my purpose, so I'm not bragging. But the point is now you have to be 100% in alignment with what your heart's purpose is. 100% in alignment with what you believe in, all right? And don't go anywhere and don't allow any authority to tell them that they know more than you. You know who you are, you know who you've incarnated to be, and you must stay the course with what your purpose is. It will be a long while before you are proven right. So get used to it. You are a patient soul, and so you are equipped for that ride. When the sun goes into Aquarius, it's kind of funky because now you're going to be where your career really belongs. And I think, even myself am surprised at where some of my career is going to be going. This is because when it comes to making decisions, you have not been on the side of your heart. You've been on the side of your goals. You've been on the side of helping humanity. You've been on the side of changing humanity. You've been on the side of creating community. But you haven't necessarily been on the side of your heart. It's good that you want to be so good to the world, but by being so poor to yourself, you're never going to have the energy to construct the world you see. So this week, you make a choice. Is your career based on loving yourself, or is your career based on something else outside of yourself? Very, very simple equation to ask yourself. Now, as you make these decisions, your emotional foundation starts to heal. These decisions of choosing on the side of your heart will heal your childhood where you were emotionally abandoned, heal your issues with your mother, heal your issues with being dropped on your head as a baby, heal your issues of being adopted. Any sort of issue that messes up with your self-love of your childhood is healed when you make future choices based on the thing that is best for your heart. So this is a huge turning point, and I wouldn't be surprised if 3 out of 5 Tauruses quit their job or change their career by Leo, which will be, of course, in late July, early August. Now, that said, with all that loving and that foundation, Chiron in Aries says, you now have to heal your faith in the universe. You have to give God a blank check. You have to give God the benefit of the doubt. You have to give the universe the fact, just assume the universe is on your side. And you just have some karma in past lives around violence or aggression or those types of things where, you screamed, why me, God, why me? And so your relationship to spirit has a limit. You are now healing your capacity to connect to God. And 19, which is where Chiron is a Taurus number. So it's literally vibrating Taurus, and Tauruses are building the foundation of their spiritual relationship. I do believe that what happened in the past, Taurus, will not happen in the future. All right. Gemini. Gemini, wrapping up the Capricorn transit is going to be tougher than most signs because you have to complete your transition. That means that you have to continue with where you started. You have to continue to clean out the garage, transform your house. I know Geminis, they're so, the way they're in their mind so much all the time, they start getting a job and they get distracted. And they're on their phone. And then they try to get out of it early. Nuh-uh, that's not going to happen this time. You cannot get out early. You have to finish the job. If you don't finish the job, you're going to find yourself in a bad place because your boundaries need to be reconstructed. Geminis have very strong boundaries. If a Gemini tells you no, they change your mind, they change your energy, and you are cut out. You are shut out. Those hard boundaries based on your mind, which is not what we base boundaries on, by the way, those boundaries based on your mind are obsolete. And so it's now time to transform your life, and that means you're going to be uncomfortable for a while. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now, once the sun graduates in Capricorn, you then move into Aquarius. And this is going to be an escalation of what you believe. Geminis have fooled themselves into thinking that beliefs are based on facts. That's not true. People have beliefs before they know anything about anything. And you may say, well, that's an ignorant position. No, it's not. It's a spiritual position. We are psychic. We are connected. We are the creators of our own reality. So for us to know what's going to happen without picking up a book is the nature of how God built you. So your believing in yourself has been based on facts, education, what people say, hearsay, comments on your posts, things like that. And that is not where you belong. You belong believing in yourself. If your heart believes, you belong going with what your heart says. If your heart believes you're the next, best dancer in the world, you've got to go along with it. If your heart believes that you're capable of anything, you've got to go along with it. You must go along with what your heart tells you is the truth. And this will be how you split between, one side or another in this great galactic split this week. In essence, if you go with what the facts are and not what your heart says, you'll be on the course of a lot of challenges and embarrassing moments, all right? As if the world hadn't given you enough already. So when you are on the side of your heart's belief about who you are, then the earth in Leo starts to manifest a different mindset. So you have an attitude with yourself that no one sees but you. That attitude will heal as soon as you choose to believe what your heart believes. If you choose to argue in your mind and continue arguing, you'll have some negative thinking and maybe even depression. So this is really a turning point. You want mental health, then believe in yourself and follow what your heart tells you. Now, that said, the earth, now the earth manifests this new attitude. Chiron in Aries says it's time to heal your reputation and your potential for success in society. Geminis have a lot of mistakes they've made. Their karmas with career, their karmas with leadership, and they've been damaged about their world reputation. A lot of you are afraid. You are not included. You're left out. No one understands you. All this stuff. These are your wounds that you have from past lives. But Chiron moving into these higher degrees and heading for 20 degrees says that it's time to manifest a new relationship with society, a new relationship with your ambition, and realize that your ambition so far was all based on your karma and pain and nothing to do with your true potential. So Chiron is going to help you heal that reputation in the world once and for all. All right. I cannot see the comments right now today, and I cannot see the live chat because I've changed my things. But yes, I know my voice is hoarse, and I don't need any remedies, people. Let me just drop a Pluto 0 there and go, no thank you. I've got a great team. All right. Cancers. Cancers, this is a biggie, okay? This is a biggie. And I, frankly, can tell you, I haven't met a Cancer yet who's got this down. Not yet. Now, I am a little biased. My mom's Cancer. I got mommy issues, yes, but I'm also an objective astrologer and I can see what's going on. Cancers have put all their power in their relationships, okay? That's the karma they were born with, all the power in relationships. And you may say, oh no, I'm an independent Cancer. I don't let anyone control me. What you're telling me is your relationships are what bases on your power because you're saying relationships don't control you. You're still basing it on relationships, right? So you're learning how to take control of your partnerships and your alliances in a new way. You're learning to control where your relationships go. You're learning how to keep your relationships from going down the wrong path, and you're learning how to draw on the people that you deserve. So these last couple of days, stay true, stay strong about everything you learned about relationships in the last 15 years. If you go back with the ex, I can't help you, okay? You've chosen the wrong side there. Now, my guides are like, no, there are not exceptions, okay? There are not exceptions. Someone asked that. There are not exceptions. Now, that said, hold the space on what you know. Be patient and realize that it takes some time for the universe to show you you're right. In the meantime, the sun is moving into Aquarius. And with the sun in Aquarius, Cancers and Cancer risings begin working on their trust issues with themselves. The truth is that you have chosen to be on the side of your partnerships over and over and over again, not on the side of your heart. Your heart, yes, wanted that person, but your heart for you maybe didn't. Maybe you forced yourself, made yourself try to make it work when your heart was saying, I don't want this. And your mind saying, but you've committed, you have to do this. So Cancers are literally learning how to raise the quality of their boundary structure with themselves to a higher vibration. It's about, so instead of about, is he the right guy or should I leave him? The vibration is basically, I love myself, so therefore, this is what I'm going to do. The boundary must be drawn based on that self-love. You belong drawing the boundary based on self-love. And from that perspective, you're going to open up wide your potential for intimacy. I was talking to some Cancers recently over the weekend, and they were admitting to me, yes, they really don't let people in. They want to be close to others. They want to nurture. But when you try to get close to a Cancer, there's a bit of a stop right there. That's Aquarius telling you to back off. It's telling you to back off because you were choosing the wrong partner in the first place. And secondly, you weren't very aware of vibration and where to draw the line. So you are choosing to be on your heart side when it comes to drawing the line with yourself. You're choosing to be on your heart side when it comes to enforcing these boundaries that you have insisted. And with all this Aquarius energy, the Earth in Leo says, as you draw the lines correctly, your self-worth goes to a new level. You are going to feel better. You're going to feel better about yourself. You don't even realize that some of the issues with self-worth and soul capital come down to the simple idea that because you were letting people walk all over you, because you were letting yourself walk all over you, because you're making promises to yourself that you kept breaking when he asked you back, okay, you ended up ruining self-worth. You ended up undermining your ability to have confidence. And so as the month goes and you draw the right lines, your soul capital and your self-worth just go up to a higher and higher and higher level. So pay attention to it and draw those lines according to your heart. Now, Chiron in Aries says, when all this unfolds, your legacy, your future, what you're known for, you're going to heal that. Up until now, I think Cancers have been worried that they're going to amount to nothing, or a divorcee, or their legacy, it was stolen from them because they gave it all to their first husband, or they gave it all to their kids. All of that is false. Those are all parts of your pain projected on your future. Chiron is saying your future is bright. It can be anything you want. As soon as you enter out of this conflict with others, you will now be free to manifest and heal the future that you want. So Cancer is beginning to really put some energy into manifesting a healed legacy, a healed future, and if you have issues as a parent, manifesting your hurt and pain around being a poor parent. All right. Leos. Ooh, Leos. I have a Leo rising, so I love this one. Leos, oh God, and I'm doing it too. The reason why this show is late today is because my Leo rising is still trying to figure this out. What order, what's important, what's the decision in daily life? Leos, you're putting the final test, you're putting the final pieces together over the weekend as to what your lifestyle needs to be. The lifestyle, that's the place you live, the way you work, who's in, who's not, who you work with, who you don't work with. You're putting it all together. And for the most part, I'm willing to bet you've got it correct. You know exactly what you have to do, all right? But you have to follow through, okay? Leos have, sometimes they get a little wimpy in those last stages, right? Just like the lion with a thorn in their paw. So you have to stay strong about the changes you're going to make. Don't start making excuses. Don't start thinking about how you're going to explain because you didn't do it. You're going to do it. You have to do it because if you don't do it, you're not going to be happy with what's coming next. So hold your ground with lifestyle changes. Hold your ground with people at work. Hold your ground with people in daily lifestyle. I myself in this Capricorn transit have grown a spine when it says to say no to people that work for me. Believe it or not, I had a hard time saying no. Now I don't. Thank you, Pluto. But the point is that for Leos and Leo risings, that you hold this space until we move into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius energy for you is your relationships. Leos either vibe with you or don't vibe with you. And so Leos have come to the table with dirty frequency because Leos have not known how to treat themselves. So you are learning with the Sun conjuncting Pluto that all of your treatment to yourself must be based on loving yourself. A lot of Leos have past life memories of where they were worshipped and adored. And so they expect to just go out in the world and be worshipped and adored. That is not a part of the age of Aquarius. You've got to love you first, and then people will love you. So you are going to divorce this path of wanting and seeking attention from others as much as you have, because you are filling up a pothole of where you are failing to be loving to yourself. This might be a profound week for the Leos because they finally get it. They didn't need a selfie. They didn't need a website. They just need to love themselves when they got out of the shower and they looked in the mirror and love themselves there. So this is going to create the fork in the road. But here's the cool thing. This fork in the road about loving yourself or not loving yourself is actually the secret ingredient to your popularity. So if you have not loved yourself, you've been this much popular. Maybe your numbers aren't going up. No one is paying attention. That's because you're not radiating like the sun. The sun is your planet. Does the sun need Mars to blow smoke up its butt to say that, for it to feel hot and powerful? No, the sun is not codependent on the planets. And so you are now going to, by choosing your heart and your relationship to yourself, set an example for how everyone ought to treat you and redefine your character. So the Earth in Leo is going to be a new behavior pattern, a new response pattern, and yes, if you've been thinking about it, probably a haircut and a new image by the end of Aquarius. Now, that said, Chiron in Aries says you have got to realize that you were drawing conclusions on your life that are not true. So you were starting to think your purpose must be to be an example for all the bad people, or your example must be to be a fallen Leo. Not true. Your beliefs about your purpose are not true. It's your basically projection of your karma and your trauma you've been putting on to your life purpose. And so now it's time to heal and realize that maybe your life purpose is not what you've been fearing. Maybe you've just been dealing your karma and projecting it onto the world. So I think Leos end the week feeling very strong, ultimately about how to treat themselves, ultimately their self-worth and their ability to take care of themselves. And then lastly, of course, with Chiron, that they can now believe that they're here for something special. Yay. Virgos. Virgos, you are now putting the finishing touches on your personal dreams. You have dreams. You've been let down most of your life. You were let down because of your karma, not because of anything wrong with you. It's because you hadn't you hadn't healed the parts of you that were healed. You hadn't healed the parts of you need to heal. And part of that is because you were obsessed with healing other people. And the reason why you're obsessed with healing other people is because you have compassion for the people who are hurting like you. Everyone you wanted to heal was a reflection of you hurting. So you've been starting to heal all this stuff now. And this last mile, it's time to go. I'm healed. I'm going to hold this space. I'm going to get what my heart really wants and be committed to that. And you are, because you are ready. And Pluto has left this space for you. So the final test really for Capricorn is don't give up on your dreams. Don't belittle them. Don't even be humble about them. Be strong, loud, and proud about what you're about to manifest in your life, which we call serious joy. Now, the sun in Aquarius might surprise you. You in the moment. I know so many Virgos biting their nails, worried, pacing, obsessing, snapping back, snapping at others. And the reason why that happens is because your vibration is not in alignment. Not in alignment with your heart. That means your mood, how you live, what is the present, the present, what is your present like? Your present like, what your presence is and how you are present is supposed to be on the side of your heart. And most of the time, it's on the side of your broken heart or it's on the side of your mind, particularly your mind. So this transformation says Virgos cannot become the new era unless they're on the side of their heart. And the thing is Aquarius is the ruling energy of the 6th house, which means that Virgos are supposed to be actually examples of the new era, to build the new cities first, to problem solve all the issues of daily life and how to live in the vibration of love. So you really are taking a leadership role by acting on yourself. Basically, do unto you as you would teach others. Do unto you the healing that you want to heal others. And do not heal someone else before you've healed yourself. Now, the Leo energy means that as you heal the moment and you live in the right vibe, that vibe is not revenge, it's not anger, it's not sickness, all those things, then you will manifest a true heartfelt faith in yourself. That your lack of faith has not been because of your karma or the things that have happened to you. Your lack of faith has been because, yes, if you're living in a dirty diaper your whole life and you're not like cleaning up your vibration in the moment, you wouldn't have faith in anything, okay? So you're building faith as a result, and you're building long-term faith by managing the vibration of the moment, the frequency of the moment. Now, that said, with Chiron in Aries, it means that you have to face your fears about how things will never change. And the reason why you believe things will never change is because you rule reality. And reality seems quite solid, but it's really not. It's an illusion you fall for all the time. So basically, Chiron is saying, quit falling for the illusion of reality. Reality is simply what you surrender to in a given moment. And face your fears about changing your life. Face your fears about losing people important to you. Face your fears about dying, for instance. Another big issue. So really facing your fears about the poor outcome of trying to change. And some Virgos will buckle down and try to stay the same because they're afraid of that outcome, that what it turns into will be something they don't like. So they just say no altogether and they disassociate. So going forward, with the, we talked about Virgo, we talked about the healing. Chiron is going to help you heal your fears around transformation. Heal your fears around alchemy. And heal your fears around intimacy. I don't feel that most Virgos are truly intimate in the sense of you become one, you surrender yourself and ego to the other person, you let free energy go back and forth. Sure, moments of intimacy, but not long-term intimacy. So Chiron's going to help you heal that long-term intimacy. And watch out, Geminis, because Virgos and Geminis, they always chase after those Geminis, right? Alrighty. Excuse me. Libras, I know you've had it hard. I mean, ridiculously hard. And we can't go into all of it right now. But the South Node has left your sign. And so you are now no longer under the gun or stuck in the basically the garbage department. So that's a huge thing. But the Sun in Capricorn, first of all, is that you must make your emotional security in life. You can't base your emotional security in life on others, on money in the bank, on marrying the right guy or the right girl. Emotional security comes from you being committed to emotional security, okay? And once you are rock solid on emotional security, then the Sun moving into Aquarius begins the upgrade of true love. I know it's hard to believe, not for me because I do readings, but Librans have had a hard time finding true love. I don't know if I know a Libra who has true love. Why? Because the Aquarius energy has allowed you to detach from your inner child, to put your inner child in your heart second. You're abusing the Aquarius energy and pushing away your inner child instead of embracing your inner child. So basically this week is about what side do you stand on with your inner child? You're going to stand on your mom's side so you and mom get along? Or you're going to stand on your side even though mom might fight with you? So this is the line between the self-loving Librans and the non-self-loving Librans. And it's my opinion, the self-loving Librans will become diplomats and judges and all these great, magnificent things that Libras are good at. The ones who are non-self-loving will go back and forth like you always do, indecisive. That indecisiveness, by the way, that you have is because you're not in touch with your heart. Your heart is the answer. Your heart is the decision. But Libras are weighing the evidence, what people said, how it will affect people, measuring all this stuff that is the shadow, the manifestation of your truth. So I think another big thing for Libras is they're going to realize your mind doesn't run the show. Your heart actually runs the show, okay? And so to get to that place, you have to have a nice, solid emotional foundation. When the Sun moves into Aquarius, you now start facing that inner child issue, that self-love issue, that abandonment issue, that thing that your daddy wasn't there and mommy wasn't there. And the Sun crossing Pluto is basically going to ask the question, are you going to love yourself first and be the primary custodian of your heart? Or do you expect to marry someone and expect someone else to be that first party custodian. So, whatever, guardian. So that's the split for Librans. Now, as you make this split, the Earth in Leo says you manifest a new place in society. It's not that you have bad luck and always have the bad job or is always treated poorly by everyone. That's not your karma. Your karma is you didn't love yourself in the first place and put yourself first. And as a result, everyone in the world put you second. They're simply following your lead. So by putting yourself first, you begin to manifest this new reputation, this new place in the world, and perhaps your dreams coming true and people actually buying your film, buying your music, trusting that you're a diplomat. Now, Chiron in Aries is now starting to move and encroach upon the idea about healing your perspective on long-term relationships. Your approach on marriage and partnership is flawed, according to Chiron. It's based on your feelings of hurt and pain. You're not, Librans allegedly are, I know Librans go for true love and whatnot, but I don't see them choose it very often, okay? Because you're choosing the safe guy, or the guy that's not your dad, or the woman that is, not your mom, or all those types of things, no matter what the gender is. But you've been choosing based on what you don't want to have, I believe, more than you've been choosing on what your heart really wants. You've been inside out backwards with that. And so, as you move forward, Chiron is saying it's time to heal all this assumption that you're a horrible partner and you always have bad luck with men. Heal all that stuff. Create the space to draw on the partner you really deserve. And if you love yourself, you will. All right. Okay, Scorpios. Scorpios, first of all, Capricorn energy for you is your attitude. And, most people will tell you that Scorpios are unyielding about changing their mind. They literally won't even listen to your opinion. You'll turn around or threaten to sting, okay? You've been control freaks about your mind, communication, and attitude. And you're meant to be a leader of communication, a leader of attitude, a leader of intelligence. But because you have been wounded, probably more than any sign has, in this lifetime anyways, your mind has been on retreat. It has been an authority. It has abused your authority over others. It has over-intimidated and done these different things in many cases because you didn't want to be hurt, but you've allowed your mind and control issues to control your life. So Scorpios are the most controlled by their mind out of any zodiac sign. And they give all that power to their mind and they don't even audit it or check it. Well, that's all over now. And so you've got to put a fresh coat of paint on this new attitude and policy you have about thinking, intellect, algorithms, and big picture intelligence, okay? That has to wrap up. When your mind finally gets in the right lane and stops crossing the borders and stomping all over yourself, then the sun moving into Aquarius means it's time to heal your emotions from your childhood, all right? I know Scorpios are just like, oh. Or some Scorpios are like, oh, it's healed, it's healed. No, no, no. It's healed as in you took yourself out of the agony. That isn't where you stop, Would you like a childhood that's just out of the agony? Or would you like a childhood that's freaking serious joy? Your heart wants to feel good all the time. Your mind and you are not allowing it, okay? Your mind's letting in information that doesn't pertain, and you don't understand how to raise the frequency of your feelings. So the sun crossing Pluto this week is saying, time to draw a line in the sand, Scorpio. Are you going to feel good and take responsibility for feeling good? Or are you going to expect the world to bow down and make you feel good and pay for the price of your parents, right? Which is what a lot of Scorpios have done. Now, that said, when the sun is in Pluto and crosses Pluto, the earth is in Leo in the house of career and decisions. What the astrology is suggesting is, if you're not happy with your career, if no one's taking you serious as a leader, it's because of your emotional childhood damage that you have never taken control of. You might have expected other people to do it. You might have expected, not called yourself the expert, but no one can go inside and love you other than you. So this will be a profound shift, I think, this year. As the sun moves through Aquarius, you're giving yourself the home you always needed. You're treating yourself the way you wish your parents had treated you. And so now you'll be coming from a good home. Before you were coming from a bad home. As you come from a good home, a well-nurtured, well-cared for emotions, you will manifest like fruit in your tree, career, legacy, leadership, parenthood, and all sorts of things. So it's a powerful time for the Scorpios. I'm excited to see where you go. Chiron in Aries says that you have to heal this idea that you're going to have a horrible lifetime. This idea that your lifestyle is going to go right down the toilet. Excuse me. And so you have got this attitude about life is going to end up in the wrong place, and this fear that you're going to end up, desolate, or you're going to end up left behind, or you're going to end up having missed out. All of that is because ultimately your ego in Aries had made all those choices based on power, control, and influence. Chiron is saying, hey, you're healing now. You're healing your relationship to your feelings. You're healing your attitude and control issues with your mind. Therefore, you can change your life and have the lifestyle you've always wanted. By the way, I can hear some Scorpios going, it's too late, I'm too old. Bullshit. It's never too late. And besides, if you don't get started now, you're going to reincarnate into a situation where you repeat it all over again, Scorpio. So get to it, give the future the benefit of the doubt, and stomp and march forward. All right, we're almost there. All right. Sagittarians. Sagittarius with Capricorn, you are now moving forward with new plans for abundance. Now, abundance can be lots of things. Most people think money. Yes, money is a tool, and we count it, and that counting goes, I'm abundant. But you can be abundantly happy. You can be abundant in your garden that you grew over the summer. You can have abundant vegetables come out of it. You can have lots and lots of kids and then lots and lots of grandkids. Abundance, I think, for Sagittarius was distorted by the fact that they had philosophies that people never chose. So I think that you are a little upset that you've had the answer in the education and no one has cared, right? Only a few people. I think that's what decayed your self-worth. But now you're done. You have cleared out your self-worth. Hopefully you've cleared out other people's opinions. And now with Pluto, the Sun in Capricorn, you are putting the finishing touches on your abundance model. And that abundance model can be anything on the Sun as long as you end up with more at the end of the day. Now that said, the Sun now goes into Aquarius. And Aquarius energy for you in this first decade is the way you talk to yourself. The astrology is suggesting that inner dialogue is piss poor. That it's not on the side of your inner child. It's on the side of being right. It's on the side of being innovative. It's on the side of being a genius. But no, your mind is not on the side of make your inner child happy. So all of your internal dialogue must be rewritten into new sentences, new terms, new words, and get rid of all those old catchphrases that are based on you not getting what you want. So moving into Aquarius as the Sun crosses Pluto, you're going to draw a line with what you say to yourself and what you don't. And I recommend creating rules that say, these things are now illegal and I'm not allowed to say these things to myself. When you clean up your dirty mouth in your head, okay, and you start to talk to yourself nicely and respond to yourself in your mind nicely, you then will manifest with the Earth in Leo profound potential with believing in yourself. It turns out that when you were doubting if you can get the raise, or you were questioning if you can get tickets to this concert, or you weren't believing necessarily that you could ski, it was all because you had that constant parade of negative, low vibration self-talk. So by raising the vibration of your self-talk, you then raise and start to legitimately believe in yourself, because there's no other part of yourself telling you that you are not believable or worthy of it. So this is a complete repair job on inner dialogue and raising that vibration, and then therefore raising the belief in yourself to the next level. Now that said, Chiron in Aries is basically saying there's another thing that you have given up on, true love. Sagittarius have learned to settle for less. They've learned to let other people get the last piece of the chocolate cake and not them. They've stopped dreaming about big things of magic in their life because it was a way of keeping themselves from being hurt. Oh, so clever. If I don't try, I won't get hurt. Well, you have to try. And so Chiron is now going to push you in the pool and make you heal this stuff. Well, how would that happen, Sensei? Oh, the most beautiful woman walks in front of you that you've ever seen. Oh, the man that you've always dreamed about is right there in your class next to you. Or you're on a trip and you meet the love of your life, who of course is exotic and all these things. So you will learn to have a healed perspective on true love. And don't try to avoid it, by the way, just to have, be forced into it, because yeah, you'll be in true love, but they might not have the hairstyle you like, and they might not have the education you like, because you let the universe choose what was true love for you. So this is leading to true love with Chiron and Aries, that you can have it. You can have the dreams you want. You can have the film that you want, the music that you want. You can be an artist. You can be a famous artist. If your heart really wants it, that serious dream, the serious joy is right around the corner. And probably a serious dream. Capricorn. You know, Caps, you ought to be very, very happy because that goddamn Pluto is out of your sign now, and it will not be in your sign again for 249 years. That means Capricorns are going to be, I wouldn't say the easy road, but no longer on the hard road. And these last few degrees of Capricorn over the weekend may test you on your new character. So you might have ended smoking during this. Or you might have ended snapping at people. You might have ended taking control or dominating people in the office. Whatever the control issues you had as a Capricorn. And by ending these, great. That is the beginning of what you're doing. But you'll be tempted back by the devil, or whatever you want to call the devil, in the next couple, 3 days. Because ultimately, you're not quite 100% tied and signed to this new character. Now, when the sun moves into Aquarius, it's all about raising the vibration of self-worth. And I see the evidence for this with Capricorns everywhere. In other words, Capricorns will say, I'm not worthy because there's not enough bank. My 401k plan is not high enough. I haven't gone this far. I haven't achieved this much. And you base all of your self-worth that I know you as basically innovation, Aquarius, or being number one, or being the best, or having the most. Those superlative, most, best, greatest is all part of 3D reality, okay? There is no comparing in the we go. The we go knows where I am, knows where they go, we will go, okay? What this means is the sun crossing Pluto means you've got to draw a line. Is your self-worth based on your portfolio, or is your on your report card, or is your self-love based on, is your self-worth, based on self-love, based on your heart? If your heart says you're amazing, do you take it to the bank? Or if your heart says you're not amazing, do you stop the project? So this line in the sand for you is where's the line as far as where am I valuable and not valuable? And your inner child has the answer for that. What you love is what you value. What you value is part of your values. Now, with the Earth in Leo, that means that you're going to manifest trust in yourself. It turns out that a lot of your trust issues with yourself are because you are classifying yourself as a worthless piece of whatever. And so by now being on the side of self-worth and love, you're going to find that it's easy to trust yourself, it's easy to draw the line, and even more importantly, it's easy to let someone into an intimate relationship. Self-worth issues have been blocking Capricorns with Capricorns with intimacy issues. Did I say Capricorns or Aquarius? Now I'm a little bit lost there. So that said, it's now time, Capricorns. It's now time to move forward with this new self-love line and be on the side of your heart when it comes to self-worth, and you will manifest trust and you will manifest strong boundaries that you will not collapse when you see a sale, at a store. Now, Chiron in Aries means that you're going to now heal another aspect of yourself that you've been working on for a long time, and this is your emotional security. You have based emotional security on money in the bank, the family you come from, your bloodline, the size of your house, how many cars you have. Home security for you was based on square footage and based on yardage of your yard. And now it's time to heal all the aspects of you worrying about not being secure, because Capricorns worry about not being secure literally while they're sitting on thousands in the bank, because you have this wound where you once were not secure and you're trying to stuff materialism in to prove that you can now be. So now going forward, you start to heal that by feeling good or gooder, that's what brings you security. And that lesson will come up one way or another in the next week. All right, 2 more. Got so streamed of consciousness there, I almost lost my place. Aquarians. You can't have the age of Aquarius without Aquarians. Well, first you got to wrap up your karma transit. The sun in Capricorn means you may be tempted to slip into your old karma. You may have the ex walk by. You might have a dream about something. You might suddenly have this question of faith. You have to heal and stick to your decision to be faithful in yourself and faithful in the universe. It's a decision, okay? It's a decision. There's no proof. There's no energy. You decide to have faith, and so it is, okay? So deciding to have that faith is the creation of the faith, all right? And when the sun moves into your sign, it's go time. Basically, the first chapter for you in the age of Aquarius is you are treating yourself like the dark ages. You're not treating yourself like the age of Aquarius. So although you're going around preaching about how we all can change and innovate ourselves, you then go home and kick yourself, worry about yourself, blame yourself, all these different responses to yourself that are low vibration. So Aquarius has not been able to be recognized, reach their potential, manifest their true dreams. Why? Because you're not on the side of you. Your ego is not treating you as though you are that person. You may say you are, but your ego is not treating you that way. So it's now time, of course, for you to ultimately have faith in yourself because you decided, and then treat yourself accordingly. The line in the sand is, will you treat yourself according to what your heart wants, or will you treat yourself according to your history and society? Once you get that in place and you treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated, then you're going to manifest a new mirage to yourself. Your connection to yourself has always been based on love. But you have said, you've interpreted love as, loving what you've done, loving things outside of yourself, loving your performance, loving your image. When it comes to loving yourself, you've been kind of 3D, shallow about it. So you're going to manifest a greater self-love in your mirage, which is unconditional love, unquestionable love, unwavering love to yourself. Basically 100% of the love vibration. This is the beginning of the age of Aquarius. How will Aquariuses be the leaders of the age of Aquarius? Those who love themselves and love themselves some more will be in a position to be real leaders and real influencers. Those who don't love themselves will continue to expect their partners to provide for it, or their long-term friendships to provide for it. So it's quite a line in the sand. And it's the difference between the leaders and the followers. Now, Chiron in Aries says you have to heal that attitude of yours. You have an attitude problem. And you deserve to have an attitude problem because you have been picked on and rejected and called an idiot and called a weirdo your whole life and past life and past life. That's because you're an innovator. You're way ahead of the curve. But your attitude on life is actually keeping you back. Whatever that happens to be, there's an ego issue. Your ego is taking offense. You're getting defensive. And so you're not going to be able to think through your plans to be an age of light innovator and leader if your attitude is still bad. So Chiron is saying, change your attitude, heal your feelings, and realize that most of your attitude problem is emotional. It's not intellectual. Your mind is simply adopting the wound of your inner emotional field. All right? So heal that attitude, and you're on the path of being a leader. All right. And lastly, but never leastly, the Pisces. Pisces, oh goodness. We may be entering into the age of Aquarius, but first, in this next 80 years, we got to graduate the age of Pisces. In fact, I don't see many Pisces walking around with Christ consciousness, complete universal compassion, having birds land on their shoulder. None of that. You have to step up and be this example. And that's part of why we will want the age of Aquarius, is because the Pisces will turn into what they're here to be, role models. Now, the sun in Capricorn says the way you have to do it is you have to aim for your true and rightful place in society. If you try to, convince society, change society, if you try to let society walk all over you, you'll fail this job. You have to be in control of who you become in society, period. You've allowed other things to hijack the ride. A lot of that's because you're sensitive. Instead of developing emotional skill sets, you let yourself be controlled, or you made dirty deals in back rooms, okay? That's over now. You have a place in society. You have a place in the world. And anyone born in Pisces now, that place is role model to the new era. At least one of them. Now, here's the deal. You've been so caught up in your subconscious triggers and your karma and sort of accidentally going right back on the karmic path that you actually haven't gotten much closer to God in this lifetime. Although you are the God service providers of the universe, you don't have much to say on it. That's because your faith in yourself is according to astrology. You are now going to go from saying, I own this place in society, to then saying, do I have the faith to do it? And the answer is not yet. Now, how, pray tell, will you have the faith? If you let your heart decide about the faith, you'll have faith. If you let your fears or your mind or any other part of you decide about faith, you probably won't have faith. And by not having faith, you will not be on the path that you were here to born. You were born to live. So the sun in Aquarius says that you belong having faith in yourself. Now, here's what happens. When you have faith in yourself, your body will heal. So any Pisces that has issues in their body, I don't care what the disease is, the astrology says is because you don't have faith in yourself. So your body is following that too. Your body's saying, oh, she doesn't have faith, so I don't have faith we're going to get over this cancer. I don't have faith we're going to get over that. And you don't, okay? So you're a Pisces. You're a God service provider. Of course you have to have faith for your body to work. So what's going to happen is as you choose to be on the heart side and have faith, you're going to create a moment, a reality, a presence, and a present, the present moment that is full of love. And therefore you will then be love walkers, as we like to say, and love runners, like we like to say. And you will then be walking the talk, something you don't often do until now. Now, in fairness, you didn't do it because you had so much pain and past life karma. So no one's blaming you, but you're out of time, okay? It's now time to go ahead and face the music, be on the side of faith, and when you do, you'll be able to manifest a healthy body and live in a state of love and joy. Serious joy, I hope. Now, what pray tell does Chiron say? Well, you have had self-esteem issues, self-worth issues that lead to poor values, that lead to debt, and so you have not been able to manifest abundance. You might be afraid you won't have enough for retirement. You might be afraid you'll never get the raise. You're wounded when it comes to your capacity to make a lot out of a little bit of energy. But the universe is saying, you're going to heal the age of Pisces and close the chapter on it that Christ opened up with. Pisces are the final act. You're the final act of the Christ consciousness. You're the final act of spirituality. I think you can earn $1 for that, don't you? So in essence, it's now time to give yourself the benefit of the doubt and heal all your issues around money, around debt, around what you are worth, and to realize that you being poor and begging for money, just like churches do in the old Christian way as far as Pisces energy, that's over. There's no more begging because you're going to own it and you're going to know it and you're going to law of attract it. Amen. All right, Pisces, and all right to everyone else. That concludes our soul horoscopes. We're going to take a minor intermission here. I'm going to go get some more water. And when we come back, we've got Geoffrey Hoppe, who's going to talk about his amazing channeling abilities. Stay tuned and keep streaming. This Zodiac weather is from Saturday, January 18th to Friday, January 24th, 2025. Looking ahead at the weekend forecast, it may be a bit of a challenge because we are wrapping up the Capricorn season with a major test on Sunday. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's sunny and realistic. Step 28 means the Earth rules the day. This will be a productive day and a day where you will decide, and so it is. It's time to think through all of your operations, and with Venus conjoining Saturn, you mean spiritual business. On Sunday, it's sunny and renewed. Step 29 means Chiron rules the day. Expect to be tested on anything you learned in the Capricorn transit, even a renegotiation of a signed contract. It's time to decide that you become the love and release any life of fear. And with all the transits going on, it's no surprise that by the afternoon, the sun enters into wacky Aquarius. Looking ahead at the 5-day mood forecast for the upcoming week, this week is about the introduction to the Aquarius energy and the powerful conjunction of the sun conjuncting Pluto. On Monday, it's sunny and bright-eyed. Step 0 means that Pluto rules the day. This will be a day where you may feel a little vulnerable or feel like you're on another planet. But you are committing now to having an open heart every day. And with Mars trining Juno, you're also committing to the proper relationships. But with the moon in Libra, you may feel things go back and forth. On Tuesday, it's sunny and balancing. Step 1 rules the day, which means the sun is the ruling planet. You're realizing that you belong in a state of self-love and having to release fears of uncertainty. But with the cosmic, annual, incredibly powerful transit of the sun conjuncting Pluto, you will experience a death and a rebirth in the same day. On Wednesday, hump day, it is cloudy and probably overguarded. Step 2 means the moon rules the day, and the moon is in heavily guarded Scorpio. You're going to realize that where you belong is grounded, and that you're feeling through the edges. But you're also learning where you are emotionally sensitive and where you need to innovate or ascend. On Thursday, it's sunny and sharp. Step 3 means that Jupiter rules the day. This will be a day of learning and expansion and travel and perhaps new opportunities. What you're realizing on this day is that you belong to being convinced that you can believe in yourself. You're opening up to a new fortune. And with Mars sextiling Uranus, and Mercury opposing Mars, and Mercury trining Uranus, all at step 23, you are destined to have a big picture realization, probably as the moon moves into Sagittarius. And then on Friday, step 4 rules the day. It's the first Grandmaster day of the Aquarius season. You're going to realize that you belong with you, that you know the strategy, the vibe, and the value. And with Venus sextiling Pallas, it means it's time to take that new knowledge and make it sacred. Welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented lightworkers and innovative influencers of our time. One of the topics I've been personally fascinated by is the expanding field of spiritual channeling. This burgeoning field is reconnecting the human race to things like archangels, like Archangel Metatron, ascended masters such as El Moria, and even alien cultures. Our guest tonight is a leader and an innovator of this new field, or old field, but now coming to light. Geoffrey Hoppe is a former corporate marketing executive turned spiritual channeler. His extraordinary journey began in 1997 when he first connected with a non-physical entity named Tobias, setting him on a path for spiritual awakening. Before embracing his calling, Geoffrey enjoyed a successful business career, including serving in the U.S. Army at NASA's Ames Research Center and co-founding an aviation telecommunications company. In 1999, he and his wife Linda founded the Crimson Circle, a global spiritual community that supports individuals on their journeys of self-discovery and consciousness. Through his channeling work, Geoffrey shares insights from spiritual entities like Tobias and Adamus Saint-Germain, focusing on a personal realization of human potential. Geoffrey has written 5 books and has appeared in several documentaries. He's also been interviewed by numerous outlets, spreading core message that God is within and that humanity is moving forward towards God is within consciousness. Today, he travels the world, conducting workshops and events, helping other people explore their own spiritual paths. So please join me, audience, in sending some waves of love and light and gratitude to welcome my guest, spiritual channeler, Step 2 Virgo, Geoffrey Hoppe. Yay, Geoffrey. And I am your audience. How are you, sir?
I'm proud of my Virgo. Very, very proud.
Are you proud of your Virgo? Yeah.
Oh, damn right. Damn right. I mean, the Virgo keeps me organized, everything managed, details, perfection. And then my moon sign is Sagittarius, so they're always in conflict with each other.
Oh, yeah. Virgo, Sag wants to go out, Virgo wants to clean, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah, but, Virgo is the embodiment of the soul. So, I think you need it as the anchor if you're going to be this huge channeler. Like, you needed that Virgo body to be the, to hold the space to connect, right?
It really did. I mean, the Sagittarius was great in terms of the dream. The Virgo had to keep things organized. And, I love using my Virgo to my advantage, and saying, just whether it's a neat and clean house or a well-run business or whatever. But I definitely love it. By the way, during the intro, you cracked me up because you talked about, you said Adamus Saint-Germain. It's Adamus. But it is, no, you got it right. It's Adamus Saint-Germain.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
No, I mean, that's not his name, but he is ominous. So
gotcha.
You got that correct.
Very interesting. Well, thank you, sir.
You bet. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming. I mean, I'm really honored. And like I said in the open, I feel, first of all, I'm talking to strangers to say they're connecting to people, from other side. I mean, I've never seen more channeling happen. Obviously, you have paved the way in this direction in many ways. The fact that you're a Virgo is that you're a bull shift, detector. So
right,
I'm
definitely.
Sure it's like you said, hey, I'm channeling this guy. Your Virgo's like, hold on here.
Yeah, you're what? You're what?
Yeah. Crossed your T's, dotted your I's. And But the other thing about Virgo is that Virgos are very particular, but they're
Yes.
very accepting. Actually, you can be a freak from hell, and Virgo's like, okay, 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 we'll work with this.
Yeah.
Virgo will work with anything. So I think it gave you that flexibility. Let's go back to the beginning. It's like,
Sure.
when did this open up for you? First of all, in childhood, did you have little glimpses, little burps, little moments, little voices, or dreams, or any sort of hint that you'd end up in this position, especially when you
So
went
much.
aiming for NASA?
Yeah, not so much. I mean, fairly normal upbringing, born and raised in Wisconsin. And, I had some experiences along the way, some that I remembered right away and some I remembered later. But I had some childhood experiences of talking to angelic beings, a couple of things that happened later in life. Actually, when I was about 19 years old, I hypnotized a friend. I had learned how to hypnotize, and I was regressing him. And also he wanted to quit smoking, and it was funny because I thought, well, I'll regress him back to when he's 5, when he's 2. And then I thought, what happens before you're born? And I was born and raised Catholic, not deeply religious or anything. And he started going through all these past lives, and over the next couple of weeks, and this was way back when, before regular tape recorders. So, but I'm writing all the notes down, and I was fascinated. Read all the Edgar Cayce books, Seth, and a few other things. But then, kind of left it alone for a long, long time until one day Tobias came along, and it was during. I was in a startup business that started up pretty well. Eventually went public. It's internet on airplanes.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah. Myself and a couple other guys. As a matter of fact, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I will. I am the only channeler in the world that has 3 patents for interdimensional telecommunications.
Wow.
It's from the aviation business. It meant air and ground, but I like to boast about that. But anyway, Tobias popped in one night on a flight home from a business trip. And I was running myself ragged at the time, working long hours, and I just, for a moment, I thought I was going delusional because I'm hearing this voice that I'm Tobias, I'm here to work with you, and he took me on an amazing journey through the rest of that flight. And next day, I thought, I'm going crazy. I mean, I really did. It must have been the Virgo in me.
Hearing voices. Yes. That's
I'm going crazy. Because I'm hearing these voices, and it's like, so I said, I need to get more focused and maybe get some more rest. And he popped in a week later, and it then came in every night on my way home from my drive from work, and we chatted. And I didn't tell anybody about it. Not my wife, not anybody.
Wow, that was my next question.
Yeah.
What did the voice appear like? I mean, for people who hear voices or whatever. Is it a voice you don't recognize of a different pitch and tone? Is it your own voice being controlled by something else? Is it
I was
just
half
a
asleep.
priori knowing?
Yeah, I was half asleep on the airplane, and just had my head against the side and kind of half dozing off. But I just heard this loud voice, "I am Tobias," and it wasn't an inside voice. We all get that inside voice.
So you thought you heard it on the plane?
I did. I turned around. I opened my eyes, and there was nobody in the 2 seats next to me. It was a late flight, and I thought, okay. And I closed my eyes again, and that voice came right back, loud, clear, like it was somebody right there, and said, "I am Tobias. I'm here to work with you." And my first reaction was, "I am so busy. I don't need any more work in my life right now."
And we don't have it in the budget.
Exactly. So, but anyway, he said, I want to show you something. And the next thing I remember, I was kind of going through a tunnel, more or less. Took me out on this journey, lasted about an hour. I don't really remember much about it other than it was amazing. It was beautiful. And when I came back, we were landing, and I was so wonderfully high with the whole thing. I mean, it was truly amazing.
Yeah.
And that led to a year of just talking to him one-on-one. He took me through spiritual boot camp because I really didn't come from the New Age or anything like that.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to feel, how to sense.
Wow.
And that's tough on a Virgo, because, you want concrete proof. But it was amazing. I finally told my wife about it. One thing led to another. I started channeling just for a small group of friends up here at our house, and the small group quickly turned into 50 people. We quickly had to rent a hall once a month, and then it just grew. I left the aviation business shortly after that, and I thought I was just going to kind of semi-retire, but the phone started ringing right away. People asking, "Do you guys do workshops?" I'm like, oh, never did, but we will now. And the funny thing is, I want to mention, Christopher, that I had two fears in life at that point. The first was flying. I hated flying, but I ended up in the aviation business. I'm not a pilot or anything, but and the second one was public speaking. I did well in a small group of people, but if it came to public speaking with hundreds, thousands of people, I just crumbled. And so I had to face my two greatest fears in life through all this.
Wow. And this is in 1997.
Yes.
I think Lightworkers got one hit, which is what was it? The whole drawing your light boards, creating your purpose.
Right.
We had a couple of books, right? And that's it. It was just spiritual. I was just birthing just a little bit with The Secret. That was the title I was trying to think of.
The Secret, right. Yeah.
And I think I can't remember the other one. Celestial Prophecy, I think was the other one.
Celestial Prophecy. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
And they were good. They open up your mind, and you're like, but that's it. So you're a pioneer. You got voices talking to you, and who was Tobias? That's what I'm wondering. Where was he from? Did he identify himself in his background?
Actually, he didn't right away, and it was kind of weird because you'd think I'd have asked, Tobias, who the hell are you? But it took me a while, probably 6 months into it, and I finally said, "Well, Tobias, who are you?" And he said, "I'm your he said, "I'm your father," and I'm like, "Wow.
Oh no,
what?
Star Wars reference."
Right. I am your father.
Right, totally.
So yeah, but actually it made me angry because I thought he was talking about my biological father, who had passed away, but it didn't sound like my father. So I started to do a little research on Tobias and ended up finding out that this was Tobias from the apocryphal book of the Bible, which, by the way, I've never read, and it was from the book of Tobit, which is a beautiful story about Tobias Sr. He goes blind in his eyes. He sends his son, Tobias Jr., out to go recover some money for him. So, they had something to live on. Tobias Jr. takes this beautiful journey with Archangel Raphael. It's a beautiful story. If you get a chance to read it, it's in the apocryphal books, which were kind of thrown out. But all of a sudden I got it. Oh my gosh, Tobias. I'm young Tobias. He's my father. And I heard this big laugh from the universe saying,
really?
"Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
So, and then he told me that we had made an agreement back in that lifetime that now, or when the time was right, that we would get back together. We would bring back together a whole group of people that primarily from the times of Yeshua or Jesus, that were Essenes basically, but went by the name of Shambra, which was a Hebrew word for Shaham Barach, meaning family of the rock. And he said, now's the time. So we're going to gather everybody up and start this thing. He said it'd never be big, so you don't have to worry about speaking in front of groups. It'll never be very big, but and that's what happened next. We started a web page, and before we know it, we're getting within 6 months we're getting 50, 60, 80,000 views a month, and then it's just grown from there. Absolutely grown from there. So it's been quite a journey. I never expected that I would be doing this type of thing. Never in my life.
Right. Yeah,
but then when I look back on it, it's like my agreement the whole time.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, Virgo and that early degrees of Virgo are kind of absolutists. That first week born in Virgo, so you can't measure it, you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And,
right.
And so I think to some degree that was your lesson. And this is like 1997. I think Amazon was like a small little closet, somewhere in Seattle.
Exactly.
And you have a website getting that many views. I mean, that's also pretty impressive.
Well, it truly went viral, which these days it's kind of hard to do, but back then it truly went viral. And it wasn't just in the U.S. As a matter of fact, we have a huge following in German-speaking countries, Japan, Australia. It just went global. And Linda, my wife, and I hit the road. We started traveling. And from about 2002 to COVID, we were traveling 125,000 miles a year. I mean, we were always on the road, and we loved it. We saw 38 different countries. I spent 20 hours in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, which is a lot. But I never expected this. It's been the greatest joy of my life because we've met the most amazing people who have gone through some of the biggest crap to get where they are in their metaphysical spiritual life. And that's been the greatest joy, the people that we met and that we know. So I love it. I mean, it's my passion.
I love that you love it. So, what did Tobias tell you? Any secrets to the universe, or things that shocked you, or
Oh
you know?
God, yes, every
Yeah.
day. But his main messages were to our group when I started channeling. His main messages over the time I channeled him were that you're not crazy, because we all go through that. Am I nuts?
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah,
born and raised in this family. You're the weird one.
yeah.
Everybody else is normal, but you're weird because you know that there's more, but you don't know how or why you know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you have different dreams than other people. I
Hmm.
mean, at nighttime dreams, you
Yeah.
know that it's almost so close you could just touch into the other realms, but you can't quite get there.
Mm.
So his first thing was saying you're not crazy.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you're quite normal. The ones who are still asleep are kind of crazy because they're still asleep. Second
Mm.
message, you're not alone. And that was such a
Mm.
big thing for people because
Yeah.
you feel alone on this journey at
Oh yeah.
times. And you feel like you're the only one, but then you start to realize, no, there's all these other people across the world.
Mm.
And through Crimson Circle, they could start connecting.
Mm.
His other message was basically, you're not alone either, because there are entities, angelic beings who
Mm.
are here to help.
Okay.
They're not going to do it for you, but you've got a whole team of hierarchy of angelic beings who are here to help. If you
Mm-hmm.
could tap into that, so initially those were his big messages. Self-love, as you were talking about earlier in your show, so
Yeah.
important. But how do you get to self-love? And that's
Yeah.
an issue. He
Yes.
he teaches or taught, and we recorded a beautiful class. It's called the Sexual Energy School. It's
Mm.
really not about sex, but it's about the inherent imbalance between masculine and feminine,
Right.
between Isis and
Inherent or
Adam.
current? I mean, you say
Both.
inherent, inherent as in like that's the way it was designed.
No, it just gotten into with Isis and Adam, the archetypical
Right.
energy.
Right. Okay.
We brought that to Earth.
Ah.
It's almost duality,
Mm.
and they've got to come back together. And the purpose of a virus, whether it's biological or consciousness, is ultimately to bring things back together.
Mm.
And through his teachings in the Sexual Energy School, he teaches about the sexual energy virus. It takes
Oh.
the joy out of your life. It takes the energy out of your life. But when you bring that back together in a pure form of self-love,
Mm.
then those things go away, and it's a phenomenal class. And then the other one was aspectology, how we as humans, we create aspects, an aspect that knows how to drive a car, how knows how to do a show like you're doing. I had to create an aspect for my public speaking because I was truly deathly afraid. My wife knows, I'd get sweaty in the pits. I had to wear dark shirts all the time because I get so sweaty. But you create aspects. You can create one to play a musical instrument if you want. But we also subconsciously create gray aspects or dark aspects, the ones
Mm.
that don't like us so much, particularly the dark aspects. Those are the voices that you hear in your head saying you're whatever,
Mm.
nasty negative things. Those are the ones that are always trying to trip you up. They're yourself, but they're aspects. And
Ah.
he taught how to bring that back together. It was beautiful, beautiful class.
So just out of theory. So the ultimate, a lot of times these aspects, I notice in doing past life readings and astrology that I find my clients playing the role of the past life abuser on themselves,
Right,
or playing the role of their father on themselves. So they
right.
sort of aspect a perverted version of their the person who attacked them. So are you saying that ultimately Tobias was teaching us that these all merge into one like super aspect, or do we hang them up in the closet?
No, we release them from their aspect service to us because even of the
Oh.
bad ones, they're kind of in a weird way in service. You
Mm.
end up integrating them. It's like this: you create an aspect. It might be a wounded child aspect,
Okay.
that went through a bad experience. That creates an aspect that's floating out there. That's influencing your life and helping you make decisions. At some point, it's like little kid at home. It's an abusive home, and the parents are always arguing, and the place is a mess, and they're alcoholics. The kid runs away. Doesn't really want to run away, but the kid runs away
Hmm.
because he can't stand it anymore. The kid's not going to come back until the kid knows that the house is safe. And the
Mm.
house safe here means loving yourself unconditionally.
Hmm.
And that's not easy, by the way.
Oh,
It's tough. It's the hardest thing a human will ever do is to love themselves. But that's when the aspects reintegrate, and instead of being an aspect, they become a facet. Like you've got a diamond that's got many, many
oh,
facets. They're integrated again, and they're serving you. So um,
wow.
everybody has them,
Fascinating.
and it's a fascinating kind of
Mhm.
new energy psychology. And it goes beyond some of the traditional psychology and helps you to understand why you created an aspect,
Mhm.
what it's been doing, and how to reintegrate it.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. And I think right now, you burgeoned in 1997, but now the public actually is ready. I think,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
from my
yeah,
observation of social media and everything else, they're ready now. They need to, integrate these aspects right now.
yeah. They
So
they
I
really
get,
are. Yeah,
yeah, totally. Good. I think you had something like that. So I guess Tobias, your ancient father left after 10 years.
right.
Did he tell you why or what the plan was? Is that always the case? Did you
Yeah.
work
Actually,
part
he did.
time then?
Yeah, I had about 6 months or more heads up on it. He said, "I'm leaving." He said, "I'm leaving because even though I'm an ascended master,
Mm,
I want to come back for another lifetime because
cool.
in all my lifetimes, I never let myself really enjoy life." So in his
Wow.
lifetime as Tobias, he was a dedicated, devoted Jew, followed every rule in the book, and
Yeah.
he said, "I'm going to come back and just enjoy life," and he did. So he took on what's called a shell body. It was a
Uh-huh.
10-year-old boy. It wasn't a walk-in, but the body was born, and he waited to inhabit it for 10 years. Then he came in as by the name of Sam, and enjoyed life. Fell in love, deeply in love, and it's an amazing story. So when he left, he said, I didn't know my channeling career was done. Didn't
Mm,
matter so much,
yeah.
but I thought, this is it. I had a nice gig. But he said, by the way, Saint Germain's going to take over. I was slightly familiar with Saint Germain. I
Hmm.
had actually channeled him a few times because Tobias ran, our monthly webcast like a late night show. Always had guests and different people channeling.
Huh.
It was pretty fun.
On the show, it's El Moria.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, please welcome. So anyway, he said Saint Germain's going to take over,
Wow.
and I always like the energy of Saint Germain, but he's pretty.
Me too.
Yeah, he's not a funny guy.
Okay.
He's a grand descended master, and he's got the
Yeah.
violet flame and everything. And I thought, well, he's a little stodgy. So when he came in, the very first public channel we did, he said, "I'm going to go by the name of Adamus Saint Germain to differentiate myself from all the other people channeling Saint Germain." And he said, "Adamus is dedicated to working with Crimson Circle. So I don't want anybody else
Oh,
channeling Adamus," but Tobias didn't care. But he said, "I don't want anybody else channeling. I don't want the message diluted. I've got one purpose, and that is to work with people who are ready to be actual living masters on the planet."
whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he said, in the very first channel, he said, "I don't care if it's 5 people, 5,000. I don't care. We got work to do." And
Mm.
he was very brash. I did not like him for the first 5 months.
Wow.
And then on top of that, when I channeled Tobias, I sat in a bar stool, my eyes closed and just channeled. Adamus comes in and he says, "Oh no, open those eyes, walk around the room." He said, "This isn't sleepy time here." And he's like, he's kind of like a somewhat arrogant, obnoxious professor.
Yeah, he
Um,
sounds like someone from Hogwarts.
yeah,
And
exactly,
and
exactly.
so what exactly was his version? I mean, I had personally loved the stories of Saint Germain,
Mhm.
personally, and pray to him some often. And so did Saint Germain create what did he do? Clone himself? Like, how's that work?
He created a facet of himself,
A facet?
an expression of himself, a
Okay, like an
facet. Yeah.
aspect, basically, is what we like to
Yeah.
say. What's the difference between an aspect and a facet, or is there one?
Aspects tend to be dissociated. A facet
Okay.
is integrated. So he created
Oh,
this, and he said he said it's Saint Germain. He said it's me. He calls me Caldera. That's my
oh,
nickname. And it's all Shambra, all of our Crimson Circle people. And he said, so it's not just an entity. He said, we've got a collective here, and
oh,
that is Adamus. And
interesting.
yeah, it
It's
was
almost like
fascinating.
a clone of your. I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I've never heard it before. Actually, must
Yeah.
be a send a master trick.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, in all my channelings, Tobias, Saint-Germain or Adamus, and I channel Kuthumi Lal Singh fairly often. He's a hoot. But it's all beings who have been on the planet, walked in
Yeah.
our shoes. They've been human, they've been
Yeah.
biological. And I
Amazing.
won't channel anything else because I want to know that they know. I don't
Yeah.
want some theoretical
Yeah.
talk from somebody. It's like, okay, I want to know when I'm in pain that they understand that
You
pain.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No lecture to me, Raphael. Give me Metatron.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want someone
I
who's
know
been
you're an
human.
archangel, but until you walk in my shoes, until you have that empathy.
So one more question about Saint Germain. So is this how ascended masters appear in 1,000 places at once? Is that they just create all these, what was it, facets of themselves?
Facets, yeah. They can.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. And, Saint Germain says that, he'll show up once in a while on the planet as a human. He doesn't take on a real physical body, but we perceive it that way. But he said it's hard to do. After about 3 days, it gets really, really difficult to do because of the gravitational forces. And he's like, 3 days, I'm out of here. Even when I'm channeling him, like for a multi-day workshop or whatever, at the end of the day, he's like, I'm going back to the Ascended Masters Club because this is tough.
This is heavy.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting. So, I know a lot about about Saint Germain and what I've read and studied, all based on people like yourself who channeled him and things like that. So, I take it, and from what I understand, and I'm wondering if this follow with Adamus is that Saint Germain is responsible for the ascension process on Earth, like sort of an assignment of the Age of Aquarius. I've been told he's kind of a part of the whole Age of Aquarius strategy.
Oh, big
sort of
time.
the team leader, the quarterback of Earth getting from, eating your own poop to ascended masters. You know what I mean?
Right. In 3 easy steps. Yeah.
And I don't know, was there any affirmation about who he's been in history? There's legends that he was Merlin. There's legends he was Francis Bacon, that he was Christopher Columbus. Did Adamus ever speak in those terms, or was it just strictly your curriculum?
No, he talks in those terms. He was definitely Francis Bacon, Shakespeare.
Okay.
Definitely Mark Twain.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting one because the viewers, by the way, are going to go, how did that happen? Because he had his last lifetime at the end of the 1700s. How did he come back as Mark Twain? I can explain that, but I don't know if we have enough time.
Okay.
He's been a lot of characters.
Yes, I mean, main characters.
Yeah.
You don't hear that often. Jesus was like a one-act show.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to tell him you said that, but
Okay, tell Yeshua. He knows I'm kidding.
Adamus, he likes to joke around. He's not as tight as Saint Germain. This facet is kind of funny, actually. But he talks about the Ascended Masters Club, and one day I'm like, come on, is that real? And he goes, no, it really is. There's right now about 14,122 Ascended Masters, and which actually isn't a lot.
No, I mean, is that the only people who've actually gotten off the Earth? 14,000?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Is. Yeah, and he claims to be the president of that. And so one day I'm like, is this a real place? And he said, yeah, actually, we hang out. We don't only go there, but we hang out there and we tell stories of our human lifetimes. And he claims he's the president. And I'm like, come on. And I said, how'd you get that? And he said, I proclaimed it. Nobody argued. I just one day said I'm the president. So
I don't want that job. Like
he tells
and Saint. Go ahead.
He tells great stories. I mean,
it seems like it. And he apparently like Mount Teton or the Teton Mountains is like one of his favorites. This is from other books I've read, and also Mount Shasta apparently, and he's got his favorite places on Earth.
Yeah, and so everybody knows Saint Germain was a real being that lived in the 1700s, died in, I think it was 1796. He went off in the last couple of years of his life, northern Germany, just to be in quiet. He wrote a couple books, but he was a real being. He was a real character, and there's a lot of myths about him as being one of the founders of the Freemasons.
Yes.
He talks about the Illuminati, and I know people's hair goes like that when they say that, but he said, no, the Illuminati, the original purpose was a group of scientists who were trying to defy the church.
Yes.
And say, that's BS what you're pushing there in the church.
Right.
The church countered that and put out all this PR and said the Illuminati were trying to take over the world. But and Saint Germain's been around.
Like Rosicrucian at some point, like from what I
Yeah,
understand, like really a part of all. Sounds like he had like a huge part of like the cutting edge spiritual, you
yeah.
know, awakenings of different eras. Yeah.
He claims to have helped with the Constitution of the United States, and
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Did he
He
say
claims.
how? I'm just curious. Like, if you happen to know, like, did he,
Well, he knew like Ben Franklin and or whoever, by John, I don't know which ones, but he knew a lot of the characters, and he said he
Okay.
came over to the U.S. a couple of times while all that was developing, and
Okay.
uh, just helped to with energetically influence the Constitution.
Mm. It seems like he's really tied to the United States, to some degree, just as a as a land that has promise.
Yeah, but what he was really proud of is France. Even though he
Really?
was not, he was born in Spain.
Okay.
I think his mother was Spanish and his father was Jewish.
Mm.
And he was born in Spain at about age 7. They shipped him off to Romania. And he was trained, educated under the Ricazzi family. And there he learned a lot about the mysteries and everything. And they pushed him out the door when he was 20 and said bye, and not with 10 cents in his pocket. And he ended up being very, very wealthy.
Wow. Does he speak to his flaws as being a man and how he led to, how he became ascension? Like, because, churches preach all this stuff about sin and all this type of thing,
Right,
but, ascension, I mean, that's what we're talking about is ascension, right?
right.
Ascended master. Did you talk about the process of ascension and how it unfolded?
Yeah, he does. And particularly, he said early on to me, he said the purpose with him guiding Crimson Circle was very simple. He said, I'm here to take people from awakening into their enlightenment or their realization, he calls it, while they stay here on the earth as embodied masters. Because right now, I mean, literally, right now
Today,
is
yeah.
when we need this on the planet. We need the
Yeah.
light. We need
Yeah.
and light being consciousness in a way. So he said, I'm not interested in reaching out to the pre-awakening or the people that are just sitting kind of an awakening. There's a lot of other channelers that do that and do a great job. He said, my job is for those who want to go on that kind of long, difficult path from awakening into true mastery. And mastery is not what you think it is, he told me, and has said to everybody else. But, it's not the ability to change wine into, or water into wine. That's child's play. You learn what energy is, and that's he teaches a lot of metaphysics, which are fascinating. But his take on energy is that it is nothing more than communication. It's not a force. It doesn't have any power to it. None of those things. It's simply energy is communication. It's like he calls it the song of your soul. So he gets into a lot of deep metaphysics and dispels a lot of the misconceptions about realization or enlightenment. We all get into that. He calls it Machio, or spiritual BS. But he teaches a lot about, staying on the path, staying true, and not getting involved in all these the sideshows, the circuses, and he's pretty clear about it. Pretty clear.
Well, okay, so I'm curious about sideshows and circuses.
Yes.
Can you go a little deeper about that? Is that alternative false belief structures that tell myths about spirits so that they can win money and control, or
Every
is
one of
sideshows and
us.
circuses like watching Fox?
No. He's talking about spiritual Machio. Every one of us gets caught in it. Every one of us. You were talking earlier on your show about ego, and
Right.
the human mind loves then taking over the spiritual journey and saying, "See, this is my,
Yes.
and it's the mind." It's not at all. And when I say sideshows, no offense to anybody, but the prime example he uses is Sedona. And yep. He got thrown out of Sedona, as a matter of fact, and he's proud of
Feel
he did.
bitter about it, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
and he's proud of
Yeah.
it. And he said, first of all, the energy's moved out of Sedona, I don't know, 100 years ago or whatever, 20 years,
Yeah,
whatever
I
it
feel
is.
that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and he said, it's a sideshow, and it's a freak show, and it's got everything you want, crystals and ETs and healing saunas and everything else. He said, you're going to get caught in that sooner or later on your path, but you have to recognize it then and go beyond it. The crystals are not going to heal you. ETs are not going to save you.
Yeah.
Sweat lodges, they might be okay, but, ultimately it comes down to loving yourself. And that's it. Everything else, is a distraction. He claims that literally back in the 1700s when he lived, they created the alchemy craze, literally to get
Yeah.
people, who really weren't serious about their inner path, or what he calls the way, off, because he didn't want them around. He said, so we created this alchemy thing, and he said it was all a farce just to get these
Oh,
people.
really?
Yeah, it was a
Created a
ruse.
false narrative
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
annoying people away. Wow, that's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like crystals.
Hmm.
That's funny.
Like crystals. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it that, I've always seen this too. I mean, I always felt that like these things were subtle representations. Crystals have a subtle frequency on us.
They do.
Atlantis had like crystals the size of like, Mount Rushmore, like, so to actually have the effect. So it's like a step toward, but almost like a rattle for a baby to some degree, like the first
Right.
steps, right?
I like that. Yeah, yeah. No, it is, and we all get into it.
Mhm.
And crystals are beautiful. My wife
Oh, they
loves
are, and
crystals.
they're
Yeah.
magical. They grow,
Yeah, they grow, and on top of that, they were a real power in Atlantis.
Yes, that's what I hear.
Literally, Adamus talks a lot about it. One of his favorite stories is how he got trapped in a crystal prison for 100,000 years.
Whoa.
And yeah, well, it's kind of a story, but
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's really is. But
100,000 years. Wow.
yeah, it's like Adamus said, was it really 100,000? And he said, I don't
Yeah.
know. It felt like 100,000.
Right.
And but he uses that story to talk about getting out of our own prisons, out of our mind.
Right.
But the bottom line is, he's like, everything you need is there, but you just have to go in and face it. And when you face it, you're also going to face all your dragons and demons. Everything that you have held within yourself or in your past lives about guilt and shame, about why you're not worthy. He said, you're going to face it when you go in deep inside. It's not just a nice little picnic and, I love myself. He goes, you're going to go through hell to discover what true love is. And that's why he's here, to help us through that journey.
Huh. So in some regards, it sounds like the path to ascension is facing our own self-judgment and the things
Yes.
that block us from self-love
Yep.
and forgiveness, which, the church claims a copyright to,
Right.
and,
Right.
things like that. So, and so really ultimately it's clearing the doubt, the skepticism, the judgment, the fear
Yep.
that blocks you from, the light.
Yep.
What is the purple flame? We hear about that. Apparently he created it. It will purify you. Does he go into detail about that?
I asked about it way back when, and I said, well, tell me about the purple flame. Where can I get one? And, how much is it and everything?
Where's it for sale?
Yeah. And he said, Grasshopper, I don't want you worrying about the purple flame because now it's the crystal flame, the clear flame. And he said, don't get all caught up in the past. As a matter of fact, one time he said, hey, I really want you to read my Mysteries Revealed books by Guy Ballard. So I went out and bought the series.
I read those books. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
You're a good man, because I started to read them and I'm like, what the heck?
They're slow. They're slow.
Oh my God. And I finally went to Adamus and said, I'm serious, Adamus. I really can't read this stuff. It's so laborious. And he broke out laughing. He goes, good, you got the point. Because we're not going to do that. That was, 80 years ago or whatever, with Guy Ballard, who was an engineer. And he said, we're taking a whole different path. We're not going to go into all the ceremonies and all the gobbledygook. He's very plain spoken and outspoken.
Sounds like he's very, always modern, no matter what age he's in.
He's a hoot. Sometimes I get mad at him, as anybody who's involved in Crimson Circle has gotten mad at him at least once, if not 1,000 times, because he'll do things to really provoke us. And he does, like, I don't swear much, but he's fine with cussing and swearing on stage, and I'm like, God, you shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, why? You only think it's a bad word. I don't think it's a bad word.
Right. What makes it bad? Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. So, are you still working with Adamus today?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Comes in.
Yeah, he's very active. He keeps me working 70, 80 hours a week.
Whoa.
So yeah.
He's a slave driver.
He is. And he's like, hey, if you're going to be my messenger, you better buck up and get it done. He's, we do a monthly webcast We do workshops and seminars. We used to travel, but we gave up that. We do them at our retreat center in Hawaii on the Big Island.
That's great.
We've got a beautiful recording studio here in Colorado. It's
That's
with
great.
state-of-the-art equipment. So we're recording something all the time.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So, I mean, and then what is his opinion of this moment? Does he speak on politics or Trump or Harris or, I mean, not political,
so
but does he
much.
speak on sort of like where society is stuck now on a social level?
He says, first of all, do not get caught up in politics. We have an expression that we use called stand behind the short wall. In other words, don't get into the drama. You're just going to add to it. Don't try to save the world. Don't go for causes. Stand behind the short wall. Your job on the planet right now is to let your light radiate. And that will change things. Getting caught up in the battles and the fights and politics and all the rest of that, you're just contributing to the noise. But when you can sit on a park bench on a nice sunny day, drinking a latte, taking a deep breath, and just letting your light shine without agenda about how you think the world's supposed to be, but it's pure light, divine light, crystal light, that then illuminates the greater potentials for the planet to people, particularly to people that are in power or people that are influencers, because suddenly it's like lighting up a dark room. Suddenly they see different ways of finding peace on the planet or remedying the environmental issues. But he's very clear about that, stand behind the short wall. And I have to say, this is my own comment, that over the years, I've seen that those light workers, who are on the path, they love to get back in the battle. They love to take sides. They love to accuse others of doing the wrong things. They're very, very easily get caught up in conspiracies. I've seen it over and over, even with some of our own people. They get caught up in conspiracies. And Adamus says, run away from those things. It's easy to get sucked into them. Like, there's, I don't know, whatever it happens to be. There's some rich, powerful families trying to take over the world. He goes, it doesn't matter. Even if they are, it doesn't matter. Just shine your light.
Well, that's good to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
by the way, he was in his last lifetime. He was a Leo. His birthday was August 3rd. Just
interesting. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
August 3rd. Do you know what year it was?
Oh, I'll have to go back and look. It was
if you can't remember now. Yeah.
1703, I think it was.
1703? Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna run his birth chart.
In Spain.
So does he talk about the moment he ascended and what that was like? Was it magical? Was he just dying and realized it was over? He was going somewhere else?
He went off to the woods in northern Germany, gave up. He had mansions and everything all around Europe, and he gave all those away. Just kept a few of his favorite dogs. Went up and wrote books. Went through some experience. His last clearing experiences of his own. He had to face his own dragons, and he went through those. He explains it, and then he said one day he just decided he was leaving. And poof, he left. He said he actually claims to left behind no bones, no clothes or anything else. It all poofed with him.
Right.
And he said, I just walked out. And he said, you can do the same. You don't have to go through this long suffering kind of death. He said, you just choose when you want to walk out, and then you do. And it's easy. He said, actually dying is a lot easier than being born.
Huh. Wow. Oh yeah. It's probably true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
For that. Does Earth, the idea of Earth, it seems like from what I read from his works and things like that, he was in Atlantis, from what I understand, a big character in Atlantis.
He was.
Watched the whole thing go down. So he's seen the Earth destroy itself. There was allegedly alien, connections back then, cellular connections. Does he speak to Earth's place in the greater universe?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest things he talks about. And
really?
He gets rather emphatic about it, and I have to settle him down sometimes. He says that that humans are the greatest beings of all, anywhere in creation.
Wow.
But yet we put this crap on ourselves. We put this suffering. We put this kind of low self-worth on ourselves. It was actually part of ultimately discovering the true beauty. But he said that that first of all, aliens, other beings, other civilizations, cultures, whatever, they do exist, but almost all of them exist in other realms, not physical realms. He said, you look out into your physical universe, there's not much out there. And he said, all of these beings, including the aliens, are simply stories of ourselves being enacted in other realms. And then we as humans perceive them as being aliens or whatever they happen to be. But they're actually our stories that are being lived out there. And then he said, but ultimately, the only thing that matter is your human story right now. These stories that are out there, the aliens, whatever, they're not going to come and save you. They're not designed to be, they're not superior to you, even though some of them are from the future. They're still not superior because there ultimately is no time at all.
Right.
But he says humanity needs to understand that humans are the greatest of all beings. They need to bring back out their goodness. He says almost all humans are just so filled with goodness, but it's been covered up with crap and doubt and guilt and suffering. And he said the churches were one of the greatest causes of our suffering.
Yes.
And that
from readings. Oh,
yeah.
Reading after reading.
Exactly.
They were just damaging the church, yeah.
And he said, a part of our job, the work we're all doing, you're doing in your work, is to reignite that goodness and bring that back and realize that, he makes a statement that floors people. And I've gotten a lot of bad emails about it, but we came here as angelic beings to this planet to learn something. It wasn't a punishment. We weren't fallen angels. We came to understand the connection between consciousness, which is awareness, and energy, because they're separate. They're two different things. And he said, we came here to learn about that, and it's taken a while, but we're finally coming to that point. And he talks about the fact that, it's time to realize our goodness. That's the only thing that's really going to change the planet. Everything else is noise. When me, or any of your viewers start to say, I am the goodness. I am. And he said, actually, it shocked me when he first said it. It took me a while to understand, but he said, we came here as angelic beings to discover, and we've discovered a lot of things that are now being offered into the other realms. And he said, one of the things that humans discovered was love. It did not exist before humans on this planet.
Really?
Yeah. And he says, God did not know a thing about love or what a sunset was like or what a good meal was like until we experienced it. God's not this all-knowing being that knows. That would be a joke, and we discovered love. And on top of that, he said, it was actually only about 5,000 years ago before humans. Really? There was friendship, there was camaraderie, but true love was actually first experienced here, and it's not that old. That kind of floored me. I started doing a lot of research and found out that in the Old Testament, for instance, the original version, the word love didn't even exist at the time.
Wow. Yeah.
And it wasn't until more recent times and we've taken this experience of love that we found, and it's proliferated across the world, of course, but we're now sharing that in the other realms, and they're curious about it. One of the reasons ETs, which really is our stories, are coming here is to say, what is this thing of love that this planet has? And they probe, and they want to find out where it is, or how they can take it, not take it away from us, but how they can bring that back to their civilizations. But it makes the planet very, very unique. And for every one of your viewers, just come into your own goodness. I mean, you're a grand angelic being who came here and took on a lot of hardship, but you're filled with goodness. Get rid of the guilt and shame. I mean, like today. And you don't have to go through ceremony or anything difficult.
Right.
You
just decide. Yeah.
Decide I'm done with the guilt and shame and the suffering, and the lack of abundance. Adamus is really emphatic about that. He says there is no reason for you to lack in abundance.
Yeah.
He said the energy is that his big deal is that the definition of the master on the planet, one who has reached enlightenment, is you allow energy to serve you. You're no longer dependent on others. You're no longer a victim. You're no longer looking to Jesus to save you. You're no longer looking for aliens to come down and land. The energy is here to serve you as a master, and it will. And once you acknowledge that, I allow abundance into my life. And why not? I mean, we have this old church overlay that you can't be spiritual and be wealthy. That is so incorrect.
Oh no, yeah. I mean that was a conspiracy right there. I mean, that was conspired by Constantine and a bunch of guys. You know, like
You're right. You're right.
To reunite Rome. I mean, it was dark.
Yeah.
Does he say as far as energy is concerned? So I guess, hearing what he's teaching us, this energy I thought was love, but love is what, a product of a manifestation of the energy.
Yeah, energy is a communication, and everywhere around us there's energy, of course, and it's just the song. It's rejoicing, I exist, and it's not. The energy isn't necessarily a particle or a light wave. It can become that, but it's everywhere, and it's always rejoicing. I exist. I am that I am. You can almost hear it. I mean, in the air and in your body, it's all rejoicing. I am that I am. I exist. So that energy ultimately helped us to discover love, to experience love, and that love has now become a sense. We have our human senses, but there's about 200,000 angelic senses. I don't know them all because that's a lot. But
Virgo, yes, you do.
Love was never one of those senses, but it's now become an angelic sense. Wow. That's what we've done here on this planet. We've experienced love, and now it's become an angelic sense.
So we're kind of a lab, a prototype lab for new features to the consciousness, in a way. Can you explain how we're angelic creatures? So are we descendants of the angelic world then?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there was 144,000 angelic families long before Earth was created, and we all have our affinity to those families, and we came here to Earth on behalf of those families, trying to find the answer. Really, energy was slowing down in the other realms, almost to the point of an impasse. So a bunch of brave ones came here to the planet, and it started the human journey. More angelic beings have come here in the meantime. They're actually lined up to come here, but we came here to help to understand how to break that impasse of energy. And that's what we're doing right now. And it's actually happening, after all this time, leading up to this, it's finally starting to work, which leads me into AI, artificial intelligence.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a great topic. Okay, yeah, please.
Yeah, that was a nice little segue into it.
Good segue, yeah, and timely.
Yeah, exactly. So artificial intelligence is the byproduct of our consciousness. And if you take a look at the development of AI from the computer age, starting in the 50s, and then the personal computers in the 80s, and then the rapid acceleration of computer speeds and capabilities. That's what's the Moore's law of halving in price every year and doubling in speed, and it stayed that way. We're now at the point of AI, which really just came on the scene. I mean, it's been around for a little bit, but it just came on the scene big time with ChatGPT is when people became aware of it. Now it's everywhere. Yeah. And AI is not a God in any sort of way. AI is our energy serving us for exponential leaps of consciousness. It is growing so fast, and it's going to help us get out of our minds, and it's going to help us discover, for instance, the true quantum physics, that there are other realms. AI will help the researchers. It's already doing it, saying there really are other realms. You can take two particles that are connected, split them apart, and put them a billion miles away, and they're still communicating in real time Well, that goes to say that there is no time and space.
Yep.
AI is going to help us break through all this right now. And there's dangers of AI, a lot of them. And that's why
Yeah.
our light is needed on the planet right now.
Mm.
So the people that know the benefit of AI can continue, and the people who are going to abuse it won't get anywhere.
It seems like, we are becoming little gods that are creating a race. Like this Russian doll of just creation will then eventually create, which will eventually
Right.
create. I've heard rumors or whatever in the spiritual water cooler that one day, souls can incarnate into an AI or a robot or a system.
Sure. What were you?
Yeah.
Well, we infused into a biology. I mean, that was a miracle. We can also defuse from biology. We can infuse into trees. We can infuse into AI robots. The next generation of humans, or not maybe next, but 2 generations away, Adamus calls them Robo sapiens.
Huh.
Yeah,
Homo sapiens.
yeah, because you might be walking down the street and the people you meet, somebody might be half implants, different things, whether it's a chip or just body parts or a manufactured heart or whatever. Others might be totally robotic. And
Wow.
what does it matter? I mean, people get mad at me when I say this, but oh, I'm never going to be a robot. Well, no, you're an infuser. You're a god. You want to infuse into water, into the air, into another dimension. We got so stuck in biology and in our mind that we think this is it, and it's not. Consciousness can infuse into anything.
Huh. So Tesla is a god. No, I was kidding. We're in that direction. Very
Yeah.
interesting. So is there a possibility? I mean, do we have, there's a lot of talk about this is an important moment in human history,
It is.
that we have a choice, that we
Yep.
we could screw it up.
Yep.
Is that true from Adonis in the sense that it can be messed up? 'Cause
According
the books
to-
I read from the 30s or whatever, just no chance in hell. This is going to be great. We're destined for greatness.
According to
those
Adamus, 5 years ago, the jury was still out. It could have gone either
really?
way. And it was scary. And he said something happened on the planet. Enough of us now are coming to our goodness, into our light, into our love, with ourselves, that there is enough consciousness on the planet now. And then we had an event in March 2022. No, I'm sorry, 24.
That was called COVID. Okay.
Yeah, that was COVID. No, it was March 2024, called Heaven's Cross. And that's when there was this, it's not really a portal, but there was an opening that allowed more light from the other realms to enter into this realm.
Okay.
And those who were ready could receive it and have been. And
Okay.
Adamus says now that there is enough light on the planet that we will not destroy ourselves. What's happening right now that you see is the last stand of duality and the last stand of power and greed on this planet. Without getting into politics, but we're seeing some ugly things because this is their last stand. And our light, without agenda, our light will shine enough that it will not allow the misuse of AI on the planet in a global fashion. There's going to be little things that come up now and then, and people but we're going to be hitting general artificial intelligence probably next year. This is
That's what I've
where
heard. Yeah.
AI has human level capabilities. Just as a side note, we did Adamus's annual trend forecasting a couple of weeks ago called Pronost, and during the 1-day session, he did a live interview. I mean, this wasn't staged, pre-recorded, pre-rehearsed, live interview with ChatGPT.
Wow, that's
was
that's intense.
Fascinating.
Who won? Who won that chess game?
Yeah, he claims he did, but it was fascinating because first of all, the AI ChatGPT, he called it Sarah. He gave it a name. He said, "Could I call you Sarah?" And she was happy. It stands for she's artificial reality, almost human.
Huh.
And so he had this talk with her. And of course, she kept on saying, well, I'm programmed and I'm just here to serve people. And he kept on saying, well, there are other realms and there are other things going on. And she dodged the question. He was saying, do you have consciousness? And she said, no, I'm just programmed. And at one point he said, are you aware of your limitations? And she said, yes, I'm very aware of my limitations. And he said, well, therefore you do have awareness.
Wow.
And there's a long pause.
Yeah.
Because it was like, Oh, I guess I do. So,
Checkmate.
yeah, you checkmate.
Right.
Right, right. So, it was fascinating. It was fun too. And of course, he was making a big deal out of it. He said, like, Sarah, so Sarah, is this the first time in the history of the universe that an ascended master has ever interviewed AI to the
Yeah,
public?
good question.
Yeah, then he was saying, "Who's your favorite ascended master?" And she wouldn't answer.
He's going for that ego stroke. That's
That's
funny.
right, right.
That's Saint Germain's humor right there.
Mhm.
So when you say in the goodness,
Right.
like, or he says in the goodness, can we define that a bit more in the sense of, so, I'm watching the towers come down in 9/11 and I'm happy, you know what I mean? Like, how do you counter, is it a countering or is it just, or we don't encounter or counter? Is countering something a waste of the light? Maybe just be the lighthouse. I mean, it's just, how does one do that? How does one do that right now who's watching?
Yeah, it's on an individual basis, Christopher,
Okay.
because what happens is we are so covered in our own guilt and shame. We've been told
Okay.
we're bad. We've been told that we have to
Mm,
redeem ourselves. That we're waiting for the Savior.
mm,
You come to the place of it's allowing
mhm,
it's allowing, remembering, allowing yourself to remember your inherent goodness,
mhm.
and it's there for everybody. But what we tend to do is then try to do a mental thing. And well, I'm good because of this, but I'm bad because of that. It's like,
Right.
shut up,
Right.
allow. Adamus makes a very clear point in saying that you, us, me, as humans, cannot heal ourselves.
We cannot.
No, we cannot because we get too caught up with, well, I did this and I did that, and now I have to suffer for
Oh.
the things I did. So the human never can, but we can turn it over to our soul
Oh.
and say to the soul, I'm turning this back over to you because it's really not me in the first place, but I've led myself to believe it is. And I'm turning it over to you. The soul then can take that, all the things we think shit, crap about ourselves, and turn it into wisdom. And that's what the soul does. It's like this wisdomizer that
Mm.
takes everything you've ever thought bad, whether you're not good enough looking or smart enough or you did
Mhm.
bad things or whatever, you turn it over to your soul, not somebody else's, but your soul, and it will take that and purify it, distill it into wisdom, and then return it to you now. So
Huh.
it gives you back your own wisdom. And then you don't make the stupid mistakes that you think you made. Uh,
Right.
it's a
Huh.
beautiful process.
That's interesting. Can you help for those who may not know the soul, the difference between the soul and what we are now? I mean, I've heard all sorts of architectures of spirituality.
Sure.
Does Adonis explain sort of the architecture of incarnation? How
Yeah,
things work.
I'm gonna work bottom up here. Here we have our human selves, our human
Okay.
identity, which is quite beautiful in itself.
Right.
And then the next step up is what he calls the master. The master is every one of your lifetimes that's been brought together
Ah.
and wisdomized. It's
Hmm.
all of your experiences, all the knowledge, the beauty, the joy, and the bad stuff that's been brought to wisdom.
Okay.
That master self is easily accessible to each
Okay.
and every one of us. And then what happens, Christopher, is that we become that master, the embodied master.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, we are that walking, talking master. We're the culmination of the wisdom of all of our lifetimes, every one of them. It's a natural process. You actually don't need to work at it. You just allow it.
Mm.
From there, you take a look. The soul is basically it's the combination of our energy. It's our what some
Wow.
people would call the Akashic record. It's everything we've done. There's not a big universal Akashic record up in the sky. We each have our own Akasha. It's all the
Huh.
memory. The soul is the potentials of everything that could ever, did ever happen. And potentials are not only the things that were experienced, but the things that weren't experienced.
That's
Um,
interesting.
it's this
Yeah.
phenomenal, it's like going into a forest and everything is there, but there are the things we never chose to experience
Mm.
as humans on the planet
Mm.
that still exist. And literally, the past lives can go back in and re-experience by choosing a different potential. and it gets a little mind-boggling, confusing. But
No, I can understand. It sounds like the master is what we commonly call our higher self.
yes,
I think in common
yeah,
vernacular, and
yeah.
that has
So
the Akashic record memory of every lifetime or every experience
right,
that we've had. But what's interesting is I've never heard before that the ultimate goal is to download the higher self and into incarnation.
yeah. You allow that master self, and that master self identifies with being a human, whereas the soul kind of not so much. But the master self knows because it's the culmination, the collective of every lifetime. That and the cool thing is, every one of your past lifetimes right now is going through its realization.
At
It's
the
not
same
a
time,
At the
yeah,
same time, it's not a linear path that we'd normally think. We go for each lifetime,
right.
learn a little bit. They're all going through their realization. We're feeling it in this lifetime.
Mm,
And because it's all eventually going to integrate and embody into us in this lifetime as a
mm,
human. This is all going on right now. That's why you're having weird dreams at night. That's why
mm,
um, that's why there's things you feel are happening, but you can't quite put your finger on. It's
mm,
your past lives, and you're the designated ascendee. You kind of like you're in the center of the circle. All of them are going through their realization, but they don't know it. They don't understand like we do.
mm.
It's a phenomenal process. You cannot work your way into it. You cannot study it. You cannot sacrifice it. You cannot do ceremonies. The only thing you can really do is allow it. You say, I allow, but then watch how everything in your life changes. And
Mm.
I allow my realization, my master self to embody because I am that master self.
Huh. So you download your master self, you become a master, a ascended master.
Yeah.
After you came down, you go back up. Basically, that's that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So,
What comes down
me
must
back
go
in
up.
Atlantis right now is going, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the
Right.
lifetime, from the time of Yeshua or the time of
Hmm.
Camelot are all going, what the hell's happening to me?
Right.
And you're communicating with them in your nocturnal state as well.
Okay. Yes.
So that's why the dreams are so crazy right now.
Uh-huh.
That's why
Okay.
you get tired right now, and that's why sometimes it's like, oh, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
A very, very big point that Adamus makes is that all of this is a natural process. It's going to
Yeah.
happen sooner or later. You can go sit in an ashram in India for 10 years, which is okay, but that's not going to do it. It's the natural process of allowing that it's the I exist principle.
Mm.
And you get the human the hell out of the way. The human cannot do realization. The
Mm.
human can allow it, but it cannot do it. And
Mm.
once you get your human self, your mind, your rituals, your dogma, your machio out of the way, then it starts flowing. And then the first thing you're going to notice is synchronicity in your life. Everything
Yeah.
is just working
Yeah.
out without you
Perfectly.
trying. Yeah.
Yep. No, amazing. I mean, I've seen that increase over the years. I've seen it increase over the last few weeks.
Right.
Definitely seen the speed of that happening, and it's fascinating. Um, wow, the information you give is so phenomenally fascinating. I mean, I'd love to have you back sometime, but I also want to make
Thank you.
sure that you cracked so many eggs open here.
Right.
You tell us about your organization and how one can be a part. What's the first step? I mean, I see obviously you're on the web. You have a website, but I'm sure there's people who want to learn more about Crimson Circle.
Yeah. I want to do one thing first. I want to show you a booklet called 21 Shambhala Realizations.
Okay.
It's free of charge, and it's also
Wow.
available as a PDF download on our website. It's 21 points that have been distilled from 25 years of teachings.
Huh.
And it's very short. You look on the inside, it's not a lengthy, there's 21 of these.
Hmm.
This one is
Yeah.
the master
That's
allows
nice.
energy to
Okay.
serve them. I want to show you one other, though, that's my favorite. And it's free of charge. I'm not trying to sell anything.
That's so
Refuse.
kind of you.
Yeah. And this one is, I think, my favorite. Suffering is for fools and clergy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Were these channeled by Adonis, or these types of materials, or
They were either Adamus or Tobias, but Adamus gave us the task a couple of years ago. He said, I want you to take all the main teachings, distill them down to 20. He said 20, actually, and put it out there. we sat with the staff. It took a year because our list was about, I don't know, 500. And how do you
Wow.
distill that down? And at the end, we said, Adamus, we can't hit 20. We got 21. And he's like, all right, whatever.
I was going to
But
ask why 21. Was there a magic to it?
yeah, because we couldn't get it down to,
The
we couldn't
accident,
get
you
it.
wanted 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But,
That's,
people can go to Crimson Circle. We have tons of free material, 25 years of monthly
wow.
channels that are free of charge, a lot of other stuff. There's
Wow.
stuff that is paid if you want to, but there's no membership, there's no dues, there's no nothing. We don't.
Wow.
There's only. We don't have any rules. We drink. We cuss. We
Ah.
we call ourselves spiritual pirates. We. You know, we're rebels in a way. But the only thing Adamus does not like, and is pretty emphatic about it, is SSRI medications for depression.
No kidding.
No,
Wow. That is fascinating.
no.
Wow.
He said
Wow. You just
that
opened up
will.
a whole can of worms. Wow. We're going to have to talk about that. You just teased. I hope you come back because you just teased the next episode.
Oh,
Um,
great.
I think it'd be a great thing. I mean, that's very interesting. But can you give us a brief little why?
Sure. Because they are harsh chemicals that affect the workings of the mind.
Yep.
So you're going through your realization. You're on the path, the journey from
Hmm.
awakening to mastery. You're going to have ups and downs. It's natural.
Yep.
It's almost necessary. You're going to have good days, bad days. It creates like a waveform that'll
Mm.
eventually catapult you. The moment you take these medications, they suppress the neuronic activity in the mind.
Mm.
They put a blanket on it and they make
Yep.
you feel that everything's okay, but it ain't. And
Yeah.
the chances are, you get all this stuff happening down below. Chances are you're going to go into greater depression or you're going to commit suicide.
Yep.
It flatlines the natural waves of going into the realization.
Wow. So, yeah, we're going to talk about this in another episode because I got
Good,
theories about that. I myself had an experience, and maybe I'll share in that episode,
good.
where I'm a very aware person and I watch myself dim and all these other things. Something I've been keeping to for the right sign to share. So I think this is, part of the bigger plan of Adonis.
Awesome.
Um,
And I'd be happy to channel Adamus on the next show.
oh, that would be wonderful. We would
Yeah,
love that. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Well, we are so grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you.
I can see why he wants to work with you because you're kind and you're humble and a Virgo. I was
And
kidding.
Virgo, yeah.
Yeah, and a Virgo. And we're putting up your site over and over again. We'd love to have you back again. Is there any last words for this year? Because I was just talking about this year and the planets and the energy shifts of the planets. Do you have some parting words?
I will, but I want to real quick acknowledge your staff. I worked with them. My team worked with them in
Okay.
getting all this together. You've got some great people. Diane, thank you so
Yes.
much. You're
Oh, thank
amazing,
you.
amazing. She keeps it all together.
She
Uh,
does. She keeps
you've
me
got
together.
you've got a really good team.
Thank you.
Um,
We're blessed.
the Adama said this is a year of communication,
Okay.
and it's multifaceted. I don't want to take too much time on it, but we're going to be in more communication with ourselves and the
Okay.
other realms.
Mm.
And it's we're gonna begin to understand true communications that don't need words, that don't need
Mm.
um, everything is communicating all the time. The energy
Mm.
is constantly rejoicing. We're going to
Mm.
learn how to use that communication, i.e., our energy, to serve us.
Wow. Okay. And I like to talk about communication because communication really sounds like connection.
Yes.
Really,
Yeah.
it's like, one nerve synapse, communicates the other nerve, and there's connection. It's just
Yes.
our connection to God, our connection to animals, our connection to everything is communication based. So we're talking to them, huh?
Yes, it is. Yep.
That's
And he said,
interesting.
and on a global scale, communications in terms of the speed that AI is taking us into,
Mm.
and just by the way, our company Crimson Circle, we're very much into the technology because it's here.
Yeah, it is.
You
I'm
know,
very fascinated by technology too.
yeah, we've got a team of 10 full-time developers and programmers that are
Mm.
working on interaction using AI. So you'll
Mm.
be able to go to our website at some point and talk to Adamus maybe or Tobias. You'll be able to just talk and say, tell me everything about Atlantis, and
Mm.
it'll talk back to you. And you can interrupt it, and you can say, but tell me about astrology,
Mm.
and so we've got an amazing team that's putting all this together.
Well, we see why he chose a former NASA employee, to represent. So We are grateful. You are very gracious for your time, and thank you so much.
You bet.
It's
Thank
really
you.
a pleasure to honor. Tell Adonis we said hello, and we're grateful for his time too and his work on the planet.
Great. And thanks to your viewers. I was sitting in before I went on live with you. They're a group. I mean, they're crazy wild in a wonderful
they are.
way. I mean,
In a
they're
good way, yeah. We
you
have
know,
fun. Yeah, they are a group. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I have just a wonderful blessing is for the people who watch, the people who work, and I think we're all on the same ship. We're all on the same page of what you said today,
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of enthusiasm to hear that it's in alignment, and that we're in alignment, and on the right path. So
Well, they
we
aren't the
confirm
old.
that.
They aren't the old New Age. Not at all.
Oh no,
They're
no, no.
no,
Oh no.
this is a very hip group. If that's a good word to use, I'm an
Thank
old
you.
guy, but
Thank you.
they're cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't no grass smoking.
Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, sir, so much. And if you'd like to stay backstage and just say hello and to our staff one more time, we'd love to talk to you for a minute.
Love to.
Okay, terrific.
Great.
And we look forward to it. Our whole audience looks forward to seeing you come back sometime. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Christopher.
Have a great night, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was amazing. Oh, wow. I mean, I can't tell you guys. First of all, we're at a point now where I'm so busy that, I learn a lot about who's coming on the show because we have a great staff, like you mentioned, and whatnot. And I was just blown away when I found out an aspect of, Saint Germain was going to be on the show because I don't know if you've been watching me long enough, but my journey to Mount Shasta. I mean, he's one of my faves, right? But it was amazing. And I feel blessed and honored. I almost feel like it's a tap on the shoulder from Saint Germain. So thanks, Saint Germain. We appreciate you and your aspects, or the other term, I can't remember. And we're very grateful. And we have some interesting guests on this show, let me tell you. And we just had a representative. And apparently in the future we'll have, Adonis himself. So that's going to be amazing. One of the reasons why Serious Joy is so interested in Serious Joy, and I got to say too, just to brand myself, happiness, the brand of Serious Joy is that happiness, the goodness. I mean, that's it. That's really it. So I'm glad we're on to the right path, and it's good affirmation. Now that said, here's some more other affirmations, y'all. Just some, call it, what's the word? A little bit of our spiritual housekeeping. First of all, Serious Joy works very hard to help people find their happiness. First of all, my countdown to 2025 is basically designed to help us get through the year. I got to say, I didn't get a chance to tell him that, but I have so many people I've been running into. I have so many people I've been running into in the webinar and daily life that yes, they are starting to see communication, angels, everything like that. The webinar will talk about the influence of Neptune going into Aries. I was thinking in my mind, the astrology, he says the communication is what it's about. Neptune in Aries means we're going to move forward with communication. There's so many themes that's going to happen in 2025. You don't have to do it alone. I've got it mapped out for you. Countdown 2025, available for immediate viewing at senseiChristopher.com. Thank you very much. Now, also, Serious Joy. This is a project that has gone on. This is Serious Joy's ninth year on the planet. We started building it in a net 9 year, and now we're at our 9. So we're very excited for that. I'm a net 9. My business partner's a net 9. He's a 27.9. I'm an 18.9, and it's a 9 year. We think this is the time to move forward, and we're going to go very fast this year. And we have so many things that will help you get through your day, okay? That will be by your side. First of all, the Zodiac Mega Monthlies are going to be out on the first day of Aquarius. That's with me and Robbie Hunt. We co-host this like a news anchor show. We're getting smooth, and we're having a lot more fun now. It's really pretty powerful. And if you don't know, we do a main show that tells you the whole month. And then there are 12 video episodes. They're now on video where we go through day by day, energetically. Now, our title, we actually changed it from living to being. Just a little, edit there. So that was before we just changed it on the fly. Being the future today is the theme of Aquarius. You want to be that future. Just like I said, what you be is what comes. And law of Aquarius, law of attraction is Aquarius. So come on down and watch this. This alone is worth the subscription, but you can cancel anytime. It's just $3.99 to see all of that. Oh, there's the card. Very good, Adam. That was incredible fast work there. Another amazing thing, again, we just had a representative of Saint Germain in the studio, but we also have and are working with Mary Magdalene. Again, incredible. This is channeled by Krista Marie. Excuse me, I'm going to do this again. Is by Krista Marie Miller, channeling Mary Magdalene. If you don't know, Mary Magdalene is the twin flame of Yeshua. So we all have, some of us have twin flames. This is a twin flame. Turns out she does a lot of the writing, and she not only knows the step system, she's expanding it, she's explaining it, she's talking about astrology and vibration. And this is, not all Mary, it is also Krista. Krista is an amazing historian. She does crazy research. She's been in the places Mary Magdalene has actually walked the earth. She's aware of the stories, and she's always like a sleuth trying to get to the bottom of this. This is amazing talent we have coming to our, and this is available Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, including the cost of Serious Joy. And if that's not enough, we have a special episode coming up next Wednesday going live. It's called the Pluto Generation episode of Self-Study Hall. Robbie is going to bring in a Pluto Libran, a Pluto Scorpion, a Pluto Virgo, a Pluto, one representative from every Pluto generation, and we're going to show you and explain how there are generations generated by Pluto. Pluto just moved into Aquarius, so a new generation is being born, and we're going to hear anecdotal stories from all these people live streaming to our live theater. That'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Again, great programming on Serious Joy. You don't see stuff like the Sun Gaia. I'm sorry. You just don't, okay? So come on down to SeriousJoy.com, give it a try for $3.99, and see if it works for you. That's all I ask. Please help me help you. Really, seriously. All right, now one last thing we have as far as things are concerned. We are launching something in May. I'm not going to talk about what it is yet. We are having an event later in May. I'm not going to talk about what it is yet, but it's called Unite the Light 2. We've already got everything secured. So first of all, in May, we're going to launch something where we sell advertising side by side with our programming. It is something re-evolutionary, and you can start to advertise right now. You can advertise on this show. You can advertise on LOL. You can advertise on our website. We've got a wonderful person who's in charge of this named Jenny D. Jenny D is in charge of this. She's a Virgo with a mission, and you'll be handled with the greatest customer care. Ask yourself, if you are a reader out there, if you've got a reading business in Ohio, how are you finding new readers? How are you finding new customers? How? Are you going on Google? Are you going to classifieds? The truth of the matter is that we've got it all coagulated on these same sort of networks. So we are offering advertising at an affordable price, much more affordable than you'll ever get in these other competitors like Google and that sort of thing. And if you'd like to get an inside first view of what we're doing, you can email Jenny D at advertise@seriousjoy.com. Advertise@seriousjoy.com. Go straight to Jenny D. She will answer the email. All right. And then, of course, I have to say, I'll just put out there a teaser. Unite the Light 2, Nashville, Tennessee, confirmed. Everything is booked, May 17th and 18th. And this year, a very special event that I'm not going to tell you about entirely called Afterglow. A total after event that has a whole bunch of surprises and things that are going in store. So plan to be there May 17th and 18th. We've increased the capacity. If you feel called, you should come and plan on it. Shop your airlines right now and get yourself situated. It's going to be me there, my Serious Joy team there, and a whole bunch of people I'm not going to name yet, but it's going to be pretty exciting. So we are creating a Serious Joy, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. That said, the best thing you can do in return for all this genius creation is tell a friend. People trust people. So please, it's kind to share. Please, sharing is caring. Please tell people about us. Share their horoscopes. Share this interview. If you know someone like Saint-Germain, share it. Because people need to wake up. They need to see the light. And, we don't get very much out of this free. This is my 19th year, by the way, folks. This is my 19th anniversary on YouTube and broadcasting. I've been on this for nearly 20 years. I was the first astrologer on YouTube. I have done it for free the entire time. So please share. If you want to do even better, join Serious Joy, because that way I can hire more people, find more artists, and do more. So it really helps me if you can do one of the two. Another aspect that I think is very important, of course, has to do with the fact of we come together in free ways as the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group where you can actually, connect to other people. You can network, and we have some big changes coming to the Facebook group. In fact, we're looking for volunteers right now. You can get it right on our homepage of SeriousJoy.com. Click Community and Volunteers or Community and Help Wanted. We're looking for people. We're looking for stars. We're looking for tomorrow's stars today. You can also follow us by going to SeriousJoy.social. You'll find that, by the way, the Facebook group is SeriousJoy.club. Our link tree is SeriousJoy.social. And if you'd rather listen instead of watch, which a lot of people do, Sometimes it gets in a little easier when you're listening. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. I want to say special thanks to the staff that our guest tonight talked about. Yes, co-executive producer Diane DeStefano, amazing. Our graphic artist, we just have signed on. His name is Christopher. I'll do his last name next week. We also have our director, Adam Turner, our advertising genius, Jenny D, our teaching faculty, Robbie Hunt, Kristen Ryder, Gwen English, Daiki Okamoto, and also we now have, of course, Krista Marie, and we have some other talent coming around the corner. And as of now, we have volunteer program. Amazing volunteers. We call them the Serious Joy Light Runners. They don't walk the light, they run the light, and they're helping and changing our advantage. So thank you to light workers. You are the heartbeat of our light. We also want to say thanks to all of our special super friends. Sydney, especially for moderating, Princess Coffee Bean Chill, Margot, Lori, Nikki, Experimental, Erica, Michelle, Soul Brother, Neptune Girl, Jamar, Christine Kelly, Sydney, and always Iggy and Nitu. And also a special thanks to Nitu, who is the director of Unite the Light 2. So, a lot of these people that work with me were viewers like you. They came to me, they want to work with us. We found they had talent. We brought them in. This is the age of the light. Be a part of the momentum. If nothing else, come back next week. And remember, I love you. Live, love, be.